What's going on, folks? It's your boy Metal. How goes it, replay crew? Welcome, welcome. Not Sunday at noon. Not Sunday at noon because I have a family commitment and I'm going to go do that on Sunday. Literally right at the time when I'd normally do my live. So, got some stuff done and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and talk to the YouTubes. So, here we go. I'm here. Welcome. I got popped in the freaking eye. Shard or something came up, and safety glasses help. I ended up catching a forehead versus in the eye. So here's one for safety glasses. So that's why I look like I have a third eye, or I'm like huma 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 huma. That's why. I'm not really a Hindu. I promise. I'm just an idiot. So welcome to the live. Let some folks populate the chat, and we'll get rolling with the cool, fun stuff. For the replay crew, episode 53, Clown Shoes Singing the Blues, has just been recorded and thrown out onto the Spotify scheduler for Monday at 0700 Eastern Time. So, episode 53, Clown Shoes Singing the Blues, will be available then. Robert Ham, good afternoon, evening. I don't know where everybody is, man. I threw out about I'm doing an odd live either this evening or sometime later tomorrow. But yeah, we'll see. Anybody shows up, cool. If not, then the cool kids are here at least, right? At least the cool guys are here. And I do have a little bit of apple juice with me today. And also grab this Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA. Got a 9%er. That's what I was drinking during ACR's live last night. So, fresh crack. And, ooh, juicy. Good stuff here. Good stuff. But yeah, for those who listen to the podcast, I went a little bit shorter format today. Only about 35 minutes on that thing this time. I am working on a big episode and working with guests. Some of you guys may know, some of you may not, but you may come to love them. Yeah, one of my guests is working with me on a big episode. May end up being a two-parter, just depending on what we get into. All kinds of stuff you cannot talk about here. Cajun, welcome, sir. So we're going to be doing that. And that's a lot of research and a lot of making sure you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, because when you say something, it's forever on the internet, right? So, going to be doing that. Sonic Drink Run. Hey, yeah. I am glad to hear she's doing better today, man. She's been having a tough time of it, man. She really has. And I mean, we keep praying for her and all those affected right now, with all the different ailments and all the different sicknesses and everything. There's a lot of people having issues. But yeah, we've had her in our prayers, man. And you as well, because you're right there dealing with it. And I feel it, man. I feel you. So our prayers are going to continue for you guys, all you guys, whether you like it or not. It's happening. Yeah. Cajun, I wish we had a Sonic here. You're quite welcome, Robert. I really wish that we had a Sonic here. I love Sonic. The big old hot dogs and chicken strips and the fries and the big Sonic burgers and whatever kind of drink under the sun you want. Delicious. Got put on an antidepressant yesterday. Those are not the nicest thing in the world. But if they help you, they help you. And I'm glad if they work for you. I have somebody in my family that takes those kind of medications, and it's been one hell of a ride trying to find something that works for her. Not my wife, but somebody in my family. It's one way or another, up and down, and like a crackhead to a sobbing idiot to everything's emotional to bite your head off to like a plethora of all of the above. No, just normalcy there. And it's been like years they've been messing with the meds. So my hat's off to you, and my heart goes out to you, Cajun. I mean, definitely praying for you too, brother. But yeah, vanilla Coke with Crown Vanilla or cranberry limeade with vodka. I'm down with either one of those. Also, Sonic's iced tea with blackberry whiskey, the Bird Dog. Oh my god, their iced tea with blackberry whiskey is amazing. Also, their iced tea with cranberry is really good too, and a little bit of vodka in that. That's also good. Um, yeah, like Robert said, also be careful operating a vehicle with those things. Um, I've actually been looking at the tea stuff, seeing. I don't trust doctors. I don't. I haven't gone to a doctor for years. I went to a doctor because I was having issues breathing. I was so weak. I was sick, but I was so weak. And like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get a full breath in, out, nothing. Went to the ER. They're like, "Oh, you have kidney stones. Here, take these tramadol." I'm allergic to codeine. I can't take them. Even their cousins, codeine cousins, I can't take them. Well, if you get a little dizzy, just stop taking them. No, I'm not here for kidney stones. I'm here for respiratory, not urology. Two different systems here. You'd think a doctor would know, right? No, no, you're fine. You're fine. It's just kidney stones. No, it's not. I've had kidney stones for many years. I know what that's about. I have passed many a kidney stone because I love iced tea that much that has developed kidney stones in me. So I go home. Okay, well, doctor's right, right? They went to school and they did all the stuff. So I'll listen to the doctor. Yeah, I took the tramadol, had the exact same issues I have with codeine, all kinds of issues, except started kicking into like hallucinations and stuff. Like I'm watching like bunny rabbits form out of the carpet and jump up in the air and then like a puddle and like melt back into the floor. I like put my hand on the wall, like I was leaning there and went to lean against the wall, and my hand, like the drywall turned to like putty. And my hand was sinking into the wall. I'm sitting there watching a TV show. I think it's called Legend. It's about Bruce Lee. It was on Netflix. I'm watching that, and I'm like, I dozed off or went into a mind space, and I got up. I walked around to the couch, walked into my old office, went to my desk, pulled out my nine, and I blew my head off. Right. Yeah, I knew that wasn't real, and I like snapped to and like what the heck? I knew I didn't keep my nine in my desk in there. So I knew that was BS. And when I like looked at the TV, it wasn't Bruce Lee on there. The Bruce Lee show I was watching, it was about his life. It wasn't that. It was some weird cartoon thing or whatever. Like I know this isn't real. So I stopped taking it. Fast forward, I booked an appointment with family doc. Also a mistake. Go in there, can't breathe, so on. It just hurts to breathe. Oh, it's like I can't breathe. Take everything I could. Like for me to get one side of this room to the other, I'd have to sit down and like get some O2 going again. Went and sit down with this doc, and he just wanted to bullshit with me about whatever, not about what was going on with me. And he says, "Oh, well, you probably just smoking too much weed and drank too much and hanging out with your buddies. Just go on the brat diet a couple days, you'll be fine." And he like kicks me out. I'm like, I don't smoke weed. I wasn't drinking. Like I was working for the hospital at the time, and I was a technician for him. And just so happened that week, I was carrying the pager that I was on call 24/7 and get random drug and alcohol tests all the time. Yeah, that is not what's going on here, dude. Backed off. Ended up going back into the ER because I called up and I tried to find out what doc was on. They told me what doc. I said, I'm coming up. I knew the doc. Went in, we'll call him Doc George. Um, Went in, they got me in. Doc George came in, said, "Hey, what's going on, man?" He said, "I thought you were on call." I was like, "I am." but I can't breathe. Like my chest is tight. I'm very weak. I can walk from like 20 feet, and that's about max. I got to sit down, sit there for 20 minutes, recover to walk another 20 feet. It's terrible. I was in the other day. They did an X-ray, and they said, "Oh, you have kidney stones." They gave me tramadol. He's like, "But you're allergic." I'm like, "I know, I know. You tell me, dude." He's like, "I got a feeling I know what's going on." He's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Well, I have a feeling I got pneumonia." He's like, "That's my thought too. We're doing a standing chest X-ray if you can stand." They came, got me with a wheelchair, took me back, helped me stand up. I stood there, like put one hand on the side of the bed, and they brought the thing over and they did a standing chest X-ray. And sure enough, when you got the X-ray back, there's a line where the fluid was. Pneumonia, not hungover, not kidney stones, pneumonia. So ever since then, I don't trust doctors. I don't trust the hospitals. So I'd like to get my levels evaluated to understand what's going on with the T and all that kind of stuff. And some other things in my body, I'm like, I'd like to look at that kind of stuff and see where things are. But I'm all about natural stuff versus getting injections or taking pills or any of that crap. I'd rather go the natural route. Ooh. Yeah, Oxy's something other than Oxy's, but I'll take what I can get as long as it's not codeine related. Oof. DJ, what's up, brother? Yeah, Robert, I had my first stone that hit me was a 4.1 millimeter. And when it went through the ureter and got lodged, oh, I went to my knees. It was like I got stabbed in the gut and I went to my knees. I never did get to pass anything. I just got everything dissolved. I talked about that kind of stuff before, but nah, kidney stones are a freaking nightmare. I freaking hate those things. I don't even know why they're a thing. Same with gallstones. I don't know why they're a thing. Yep. I had the issue with sweet tea. That was my issue. That was my kryptonite with sweet tea. I love it. I love it so much, but it doesn't love me back. Yeah, the whole Charlie 19er thing with pneumonia. Chances are it was pneumonia. With what I know, remember I was a tech and I worked with that stuff. Um, Chances are it was the pneumonia, but for monetary reasons, they threw in the Charlie 19er diagnosis in there with it. Um, yeah, pneumonia, double pneumonia is no joke either. It's absolutely terrible, and it does definitely cause anxiety. Oh my god, yeah. Twin, what's up, brother? Long time no talk, man. Yeah, I got the Voodoo Ranger on tap today. Having a beverage. Went and recorded episode 53 of the podcast here today. Absolutely, Twin. Absolutely. You were kind of already coming to that conclusion. I just helped to get you there. Um, for context for everybody else in the chat there, when it came to the 124 plus Ps, we're talking about 9mm ammo. I used to use 147 grains because I thought bigger grain, bigger power, blah, blah, blah. Well, then I learned the beauty of 124 grain plus P and how devastating 124 is versus 147. So I switched over to 124 plus P 24-ish years ago. I also have some 100 grain solid copper hollow points that those things are absolutely freaking devastating too. And I got my girls some 88 grain hollow points that are very, very hot. but they don't kick as hard in the pistol for the girls, so they don't have as much muzzle rise. Um, and the 43Xs, they're easier to control for them. So I set them up with the 88 grains and the 100 grains, and I carry the 124s and the plus Ps. Hundred 80 grain 40 pills do the trick too. Oh yeah, I'll take a 47 grain 22 copper jacket at HP. Those will get it done too. I've really like everything I have is 9. Okay, I mean I have a 32 Smith. I have a 22, but all of my semi-auto pistols all fall in the 9 mil, and I really wanted a 45. Really wanted a 45. I wasn't quite. I really am kind of liking the M&P 20. Susie Q, howdy. Lectin for gallstones. It helps dissolve. Yes, yes, it does. It does a great job. Um, but I was leaning towards like the M&P 20 and if they had a 45. But I was also I'm a Glock guy. You know, I wear the SIG stuff, but I'm a Glock guy at heart. Um, I really want a Glock 21. I'd prefer having an SF model with the MOS, but I'm thinking instead what I'm going to do. I was also like, I really like the M17 from SIG, and I was like, okay, cool. No, I want a 45. So I'm doing my research and doing my homework, and I like building things. I like doing things for myself. So I'm leaning into getting the stuff and building my own custom 45 based on a Glock, so I can take Glock mags and all the Glock accoutrements and such. But I'm leaning more into building my own 45 versus buying off the shelf a 45. So much like the future Minuteman saw that I will be building, I will be doing that myself. I am not buying one and just slapping stuff on it. I'm I got enough machine shops around here and buddies with machine shops that I can fabricate parts myself. Um, if I do this one, this would probably be the third barrel I've done. Um, as far as the upper and lower, I'll buy them as blanks and do them myself. From the 20% of work I'd have to do on the lower part, yeah. Um, and I think at that point, I'm gonna go like my boy Twin. Hey, Sassy, welcome. I think I will be doing like my boy Twin and leaning into that Hoffman because I like that for that 18-inch heavy barrel. I want a good heavy barrel, and if I can't get the barrel stock to make my own, I'm going to get a Bacara barrel for that in a heavy configuration for those Hoffman reasons. I can give you all kinds of reason, but the Hoffman reason is the most important one. Now, I was looking at the M&P 20, and and I like that. My brother has one, and I really love that thing. It feels nice. Shoots smooth. I mean, it's a great pistol. I will not crap on a Smith M&P 20. Um, they're great. I just haven't dug into them much to find like my hands-on stuff, and I haven't found out if they actually make one like a 45. If they did, maybe I might lean into getting one of those down the road, but I still like the 9 configuration. It's pretty slick. Same with like the Canics. My nephew and my neighbor and ACR, they all have Canics, and they like their Canics. I really do like the trigger on the Canic. I'm also kind of looking at that Bear Creek Grizzly. Um, NC Scout had one. I know Jay had one. Modern Minuteman had one. They were doing reviews on them and stuff. NC Scout loved it. He said what they're doing with that is what Glock should be doing. So I'm like, okay, there's Bear Creek. Everybody crapped on Bear Creek, but here they're doing something that's better than the original. Go figure. See, guys, when it comes to 40, I like 40. I like 40. Don't get me wrong. I like 40. But for me and my style, I'm either 9 or I'm 45. I don't have a place for 40. I'd either just go to the 9 or I'd go to the 45. Will I ever own a 40? Probably. Probably. I'll probably end up getting a Glock 23 down the road at some point. But I've wanted a Glock 23 in the past, but I just haven't got one because I'm like I said, my mind space is okay. We have one type of ammo here for all the pistols, 9. Then I'm like, you know what, 45 because it's me and I like 45, so I'm gonna go with that down the road here next. But I think as far as builds, I think I'm gonna build that 45, and I'm probably about the same time going to be building the Minuteman saw. So stay tuned for updates on that happy horse shit. I'd also like to build my wife an AR9. Twin and I have been talking about that, about the AR9s. He briefly brought it up too in his live, but I'm really liking the AR9. I wanted to do one before. I spec'd it out to a gun shop to build me one, as well as a 6.5 Grendel, like the 6.5 I have. And it went like a month and hadn't heard anything. Well, here's what I'm looking for. Spec something out for me. Get in touch with me. Email me. Let me know. I'll come up, go over stuff with you. And the gun shop is like half hour away. Called in. Oh, he's on vacation or whatever. And okay, well, leave a message. Have him get in touch with me when he gets back. I want to know where the stuff is. Crickets. About 2 months went by. I showed back up. Hey Jake, what's going on? Where are we at with the 6.5 Grendel build for the marksman rifle and the AR9 that I won for my wife? Oh, well, I haven't had time to do that. I've been really busy and I was on vacation and I got sick. I'm like, okay, I'm giving you a month, man. I'll give you another month. If I don't hear anything in a month, I'm going another route. Month went by, heard nothing. Went and I built the Grendel, and that thing is flawless, and I love it, and it's my baby. But yeah, I walked back into that shop about 3-4 months after I built the Grendel. He's like, "Oh, hey, I was gonna get in touch with you. I just been really busy with stuff," and I'm like, "You've led me on for like 8 months now, dude. I already moved on, man. I already built the rifle. Here's pictures of it. Here's the video of me shooting it out to 100. Here's the video of me shooting it at 1,000. Here's my group. Holy shit. Yeah, dude, I moved on. Sorry. I think I was going to go there and like buy a couple mags or something. I was like, you know what? Fuck this place. I ain't going back. And I haven't been back. Robert, an AR-10 can come in 6.5 Creedmoor. 6.5 Creedmoor is the longer action, like a 308. If you would build a 6.5 Creedmoor AR, it would be an AR-10. ACR, welcome, brother. Go. No, I hear you, twin. If it wasn't legit, you wouldn't be talking about it. That would have died off real quick. Embrace the battle rifle, be a man among men. Oh, I like the battle rifle. Oh, I do. But I like my 6.5 Grendel even more. Yeah, the idea with the AR-9s is for the misses. Misses is for the females of the family. That way they have one type of ammo, one type of magazine. They don't have to get lost in the sauce when it comes to different stuff. So makes it easier. They're not going to be out front line pushing and grinding like Daddy is. Daddy going to be working. They'd be more of in a defensive guard the castle kind of deal. So a PDW would be better off for them than what a 5.56 or, you know, if I didn't love my wife, I'd give her an AR-10 and 308 and say, "Here you go. Good luck. Bye." You know. So, yeah, AR-9s for them. Yeah, the 6.5, the Creed has a flatter trajectory, same range. It actually has a little bit more um has a little bit more snot on it, a little bit more speed at the end, a little bit more energy at distance. So that's why I leaned in the 6.5 for my bolt action. 6.5 Grendel I went with because it's keeping up there too with the 6.8 or 6.5 millimeter projectile, and it's still reaching out, same as 308 is. I just don't have quite as much energy out there, but I'm able to carry more ammo, have lighter recoil, same size mag, 25 rounder. I'm lighter rifle. I went with that because I'm not a massive dude and I like having faster follow up shots, carrying more ammo, and being faster with my bullets. So that's why I went 6.5 over 308. 6.5 Grendel over 308 for my AR. Yes, I do have a suggestion, ACR, and I am going to send you a link again. Dude, DJ, I get you, man. 7.62 by 39 still, yes. It's a great round. That 30 cal family is great. I do have one, and I'm looking down the road. I want to get another one. I have the SKS, but I do want an AK. I really like that, and I got a crap ton of that freaking ammo, so I want to be able to use it to its best capacity. Let's see. Furthest I've had my 6.5s, both the Grendel and the Creedmoor. Farthest I've had those out has been 1,000. I haven't stretched them beyond that. I know they both perform just about the same accuracy wise for me. On the 6.5 Creedmoor, I'm using a 24-inch barrel with a, sorry, 24, 26, either 24 or 26. I don't remember off the top of my head. With 147 grain 6.5 Creedmoor on a 6 to 24-44 optic. Then on the Grendel, it's a 6.5 to 25 by 44 with a 20-inch barrel, and I'm using 123 grain. And I'm able to get very comparable groups. At 1,000 yards, I'm keeping them about the size of a grapefruit, which is pretty freaking fantastic for sub $1,000 gun on one case and a $1,000 gun on the other. Yeah, it'll definitely be faster than you looking for the old link because we talk a lot. Um, it's not a gun. I'm not going for anything like that. Cartridge. I should be safe with the cartridge, right, guys? Double check with the chat here. Make sure anybody know like actual cartridges they'd be okay with before I go back there in the ammo cabinet and grab the 6.5 and the 6.5 for comparison. Hey, Mama Bear. Welcome. Glory. Welcome, brother. Sorry if I missed you earlier. I got my domesticated moron ranting. Yeah, if I'd be good with grabbing the actual cartridges, I'll do it. But y'all think I won't, then I won't. Yes, he does, DJ. He totally does. texting at the speed of signal. Yeah, if you guys know if I'll be good grabbing the cartridges, then I'll grab them. ACR, I'll send it to you, dude. I'll get you set up with Signal if you want to do it. I'm pretty proficient with the signals. Been using that for a very long time. Since before it was cool. So, ACR. Here's what I got. Here's what I got today. Got the Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. Sister-in-law is supposed to be coming over and hanging out with the wife, so I'm like, well, I'm going to record my podcast and I'm going to jump on and do my live since I can't do it tomorrow. Tomorrow, my niece is having her last piano recital as a high schooler. She's graduating here the following week, so she's having her last piano recital, and then she's taking off and going and doing the college thing. So this is the last time we'll get to see a recital with her, and she's actually really good at piano. I really enjoy listening to her play. So we're going to go do that, and unfortunately, it's the same time as what I would be normally doing my Sunday BS sesh. So that's why I'm here now. It is about the same as the 308. If you look in the Accuracy International chassis system rifles, they take a Magpul magazine. The Accuracy International chassis system, the AICS mag, it takes 6mm Creedmoor, 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, 7.62 by 51, and there's like 2 or 3 other calibers that all fit in that same magazine. They all work in that same magazine exactly the same. Beautiful setup there. Yeah, that's amazing system to have because it's versatile. You can use the same mags with whatever guns you want. Downside is they're fairly expensive. I have 3 for my Creedmoor, and one of them cost me like $40 for a 10-round mag. So, without further ado, so, yes, Twin, I did get up and get the damn bullets. So, Academy Sports Close, they are doing a 10% discount for vets, mill, and first responders. Okay, so it goes there. This is an Accuracy International type. It is a 7.62 by 51, but as you see, I have Creedmoor in it. Creedmoor. 6.5 Grendel. It is the same projectile, but it is a shorter case, as y'all can see. Same width, you can see the same width here, same neck down. 6.5 Grendel. Best way to think of it. 7.62 by 39 that likes to be choked. It's real kinky. So it likes to be choked down to 6.5 from 7.62 by 39. So that's a 7.62 by 39 case, neck down to 6.5. Or 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, think that realm, neck down to 6.5 is the best way I can put it. When you're thinking of these two cartridges, same projectile, think long action on the Creedmoor, short action on the Grendel. Best way I can put it. Best way I can put it. As y'all can see, they're shorter. Short action, long action. Good term to think of it in. Yeah, case diameters are basically all the same. They're all in a 7.62, but the length, that's where it varies. And these Accuracy International P mags, the 10 round 7.62 AC mags, they're awesome. Got the little matrix on the side. You can write your stuff in them. I mark them all up with paint pen. I know it's Creedmoor too. That's all I'll run in here is Creed too. All I'll run in here is Creed. I'm not going to put 308, any of the others. Anything else I'd have, I would label up for that rifle, so I wasn't trying to put the wrong kind of ammo in the wrong kind of gun. And then you got your little tiny magazine. This is 10 rounder for Grendel, 10 rounder for Creedmoor. You can see the size difference, a little bit bigger. So that's the Grendel Creedmoor. A lot of people are like, "Oh man, you got a 6.5." I'm like, "Yeah, I got two of them." I'm like, one's a Grendel and one's a Creedmoor. And some people aren't familiar with Grendel. They're more familiar with Creedmoor, or they're more familiar with 308. So then I have to get into all that 6.5e stuff. Sorry, Robert. Didn't mean to send you down that rabbit trail. Yeah, and that is the nice thing about, like, I could take and I could pop my SIG upper off and put my other upper onto my SIG lower and run the long range. But I have two rifles. I wouldn't need to do that. Yeah, I get on the lives and I spend money. I was actually just on Amazon before I got on here. I'm like, oh, I like that. Monkey brain. Click link. Add to cart. Add to cart. Like, why do I do that to myself? I went out with the wife this morning for a while. I was going to go over to my parents' place and work this morning, but it was cold and rainy and shitty, and I can't quite weed eat and cut grass in the pouring down rain. So I just stayed home, and I'm like, hey, babe, why don't we go? Let's go down to this. There's an appliance, like dent and scratch appliance store. And next to that's like a pallet liquidation place. They got some tools in there and stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll go in there and look, see if I can find some Porter cables, some Milwaukee stuff, whatever. Go and did all that. We stopped at an indoor flea market. I'm like, well, if we stop at the indoor flea market, maybe, just maybe I'll run into some milsurp or some like, no, nothing, not a damn thing. So we hit up Goodwill. There was nothing really there. Went over to Salvation Army where I scored like a lot of my camo. And Salve Army had nothing, nada. Like my M81, I just got some brand new proper M81 Woodlands here a couple weeks ago, still with the tags on them for like $20 for two tops and a pair of pants. I got ABUs, a set of them, tops and pants with the tags on them, in my size for like $20. I'm like, all right. I've gotten a bunch of, OCP and stuff like that in camo that I'm like, all right, cool. Got a good deal on it. And it was issued stuff, but it was like brand freaking new. The tags and everything were still crinkly and still, any of you guys have been in service, you know what I mean about the crinkly tags. They weren't soft yet. So I knew they were still fairly new. So, but nope, nothing this time. DJ played a show last night. Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing those clips, dude. Looking forward to seeing that. Building three rifles instead of two. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more. I guess I can do it now. I'm not going Johnny Depth on you guys. I'm gonna talk about my philosophy. Okay. TMT talks about his golden five or whatever, and I have a philosophy myself. So if I have a bolt action that I can reach out accurately and at a longer distance, and effectively dispatch an animal or a meat suit target, I want that. If I have a closer range, say pump action to dispatch animals, or a heavier caliber in a pump action to dispatch animals for feeding me and my family, then I want that. Want to have that in the stable. Hunting rifle, right? Remington 7600. Oh, I got one. 270. Love it. If I have something to scatter rounds or send a big slug or various types of ammo, I want something like that, like a shotgun. Got one of them. I got a defensive shotgun. I don't have a hunting shotgun, but I do want to get one of those for taking, birds or whatever. Kind of leaning into the Winchester SX4, the semi-auto 12 gauge. Kind of leaning into that and throwing a little either fiber ghost ring setup, or potentially getting something, throwing maybe a mini hollow sun or something on there for slugs or something like that for hunting. If I have something that I don't really worry about what I feed it in that 7.62 realm, that I can slap a 30, a 10, a 15, a 20, a 5, a 75 round drum on, like a war pig. We'll call it the war pig. If I have a war pig in that 7.62 by 39, I'm doing good. If I have something in one of the most common calibers in the world that I can reach out effective range, 500-600 meters, and effectively put rounds on target, that it gives me all the things I need in a general purpose to check all the boxes. May not do anything super great, but it does everything well. I want one of those. If I have something that I can put rounds on target at a distance or close, effectively, a little bit more snot behind them, so I can reach out there further, or I can deal with heavier duty threats, I'd want to do that. Got that. Check that box. Do I have something that I can deal with something 250 meters and under if I have to do anything vehicle borne, whether it be via side by side, a quad, a dirt bike, a truck, a van, SUV, whatever, waterborne, up a boat, up a river, whatever. If I have to do anything like that, do I have something to check that box? Yes, I do. Do I have something to use as a backup, like a sidearm? Should I be in close proximity or have to grab up like this and do things? Yeah, I got my personal protection devices there. I got all my boxes truly checked. So anything else beyond and above that, that's like secondary to me. That's like, I don't really worry about it. When I get to it, I get to it. Now that I have all my boxes checked, something for long range, something for getting food, something for laying down the love with the war pig, something for taking care of stuff and freedom dispensing, got one of them, got that, got closer range freedom dispensing. I got something to scatter out and take care of a group of buttheads. I got something for reaching out a little bit further to deal with soft target buttheads, the meat suit buttheads. Then I got something for protecting my person. Yeah, I'm good. Minuteman saw, the 45, everything else I ever talk about, that's all like, okay, when I get there, I get there. You know, kind of like you eat your meal and then the waiter or waitress always asks, "Are you ready for dessert?" I'm at Texas Roadhouse. I just ate 26 ounces of freaking filet and my side and a bunch of bread with beautiful Texas Roadhouse butter. You think I'm going to be ready for dessert? Reason 328 why metal still has a gut, right? you know what? That lava cake sounds really good. Maybe I'll take some to go. Right? Everything else is like secondary. That's like okay, if I have it, I have it. Maybe I'll get to it later. Same principle. Mackie, welcome. Let me catch up in the chat here since I've been ranting like a moron for a couple minutes. Yeah, there's solar storm. Catch it, Mackie. The solar storm coming in. Um, it's not going to be the best for radio propagation. But I will say we may end up with a light show. As far as knocking grid or anything like that, coming as a grid worker, I don't think I'm worrying too much about the power outage from that. I work in the grid, Mackie. I don't think I'm not worried about that as far as like EMP, solar flare, that kind of thing. Even as our infrastructure, as fragile as it is, if there's a power outage, it's going to be by an electrical storm, a lightning bolt, smacking into a transformer or recloser or hitting a Viper or Nova or something like that, popping a substation. That would be what I'd be concerned about, more along the lines of storms versus like solar activity. Um, it would have to be something on a scale like the day after tomorrow and solar activity to take out our grid. In all honesty, heart of hearts, speaking to you here, 25 years working with this stuff, I've never seen anything, even on a small scale, that we've ever seen be able to affect our grid. It's always an electrical storm or something man made. Man made. Man made. Hear my words. Man made. There are power outages, I'm sure, going to happen around the country and the globe. Spain and Portugal just went through that. I just talked on episode 53. Y'all tune in Spotify on Monday. 0700 episode 53 will be out. Clown Shoes singing the blues. I talked a little bit about the Spain and Portugal thing in there to get to a point. My boy jumps in here every once in a while as he can. Medic Up 2024. He created a blackout box. I do believe TMT did the same thing here a while back, a blackout box. Talked about that. I talk about that in the episode. Having a blackout box if your power goes out. I was talking with Medic Up about it, and the one of the things I change about a blackout box, and I want to say the same thing to TMT, is putting loom tape around the outside of your box. So that way, if the power does go out and you don't have a flashlight, you can see it illuminated to grab it to dispatch all the blackout stuff. Loom tape is an amazing tool for those situations. I think, if anything, like I said, it's going to be storm related because we've had really freaking weird storms. Our area has not seen like this kind of rainfall. Like the average rainfall is between 2.5 to 6. And they say our max is like 6, maybe 6.2 inches of rain here for this time of year. We're over 9. We're over 9. Our area has been flooded I don't know how many times with these storms. There have been power outages like out in Pittsburgh affecting 70,000 plus people out around Pittsburgh. Worked on that firsthand, these two hands. I think we're going to be looking at more along those lines than we would from a solar EMP, corona, mass corona ejection, CME, CMP, those kind of things. I think we're going to be looking more along the lines of storms than we are solar. No, I'm with you, twin man. I got everything I need. I just like building the ones to survive, the ones for fun. Yeah, I got the survival stuff. I got the SHTF stuff. I just want to do something for fun. And also the Hoffman Minuteman saw for suppressive fire. The drunk setting a pole sassy. Yeah, plenty of them. Yeah, Mac, you were definitely sent here for a reason, bro. Yeah, I get into that kind of stuff. I get I free the rabbits. Go down the rabbit hole. My boy Joel Thomas, Mister Get Your Butt Cheeks Tight, get them tight today. Yeah, him, free the rabbits. Here on YouTube, he's also on Spotify and all the places. Gets into conspiracy, but he also gets into like biblical stuff and so on and so forth. It's awesome podcast. He used to be on Free the Mockingbirds. They shut that podcast down like about a year or so ago. Joel Thomas and Sean Chris, they shut it down. Joel ended up starting up Free the Rabbits. Because we go down rabbit holes. Well, you get stuck down the rabbit hole. We'll try and free the rabbit. Get them out. Get them free. Free them rabbits. And I love that. So I like to delve into that kind of stuff because a lot of it truly does tie to what's going on, to what we see. But the MSM Mockingbird, this is the face I make when I'm biting my tongue because I'm on YouTube and I'm not on Spotify. That's where things get hemmed up is in that media. People get into the RSBN, the Newsmax, the Fox, the CNNs, the ABCs, the MSNBCs, all them chowderheads, and then like look into stuff for themselves. I do a lot of research, not just YouTube, but I do the podcast too, and I do a lot. Episode 47, I was talking to ACR about it. I did literally 47 hours worth of me sitting down, diving into stuff. Because I dot all my I's, I cross all my T's, I make sure I'm 100% on stuff before I put it into content. So it takes a lot of time. Yes, and as ACR said here a minute ago, between sabotage of the grid and small group terrorist attacks, if you hear what I'm saying about the IA and what's going on there in the AQ 2.0, as well as some other bad actors in state and state nationals, there are plans. It's publicly out there. There are plans. The administration will not do anything to investigate those plans and thwart those plans and thwart that stuff going on, but they'll investigate the person that is the top targeter and intel op, probably one of the best we've ever had. They'll target her and threaten to remove her security clearances because she knows this and tried to warn them about this stuff. What's that tell you, guys? What's that tell you? Tells me there's something BS happening. Now, I didn't step in anything, but I smell some. Power grid does go down. 90% of the population is supposed to die within the first couple months. Absolutely. Absolutely. If power goes out, most people, if the Wi-Fi goes out, look at how the kids come unhinged, right? They don't know what to do. They don't know how to read a book. It's an e-book if they do even read. They can't play the video games and scroll their TikToks and watch this YouTubes and such, right? They come unglued mentally. People are going to come unglued. Wi-Fi goes out. They're going to come unglued if the power goes out. If the power goes out, the Wi-Fi is out too. Okay, well, your infrastructure for your cell phone network, if the power goes out, they do have some backups to that, but it's not going to last for as long as indefinitely. They're going to have to restore power to it. Chances are, if it's blown apart and destroyed, it's going to have to be rebuilt. That takes time. I'm involved with that stuff. It takes time. If it's a switch flip, well, somebody's got to figure out where the switch needs flipped to go back on and go flip said switch. Power goes out, people are going to go stupid. Y'all saw how it was with freaking TP back in 20. So you're down by the Susquehanna there, Mackie. Well, my friend, yeah, I know that area very well. Very well. My brother Reaper lives down there. A lot of my friends and family live in that area. I actually lived down in Millersville for quite some time. Still get down there and visit. Cool area, but yeah, there's a lot of hydroelectric around there. TMI, To the south, you got Peach Bottom, Muddy Run, Safety Harbor. You got a lot of those kind of power generation stations down there. So those are also targets. I'm just saying they're potentially targets. Middle. Oh man, Robert, I'm reading your message here about having a meet up and doing the range. Robert, catch my email from my page description there, man. You can send me. You guys can send me anything. I got my email right there on the channel in the description. Y'all are free to email me at any time. I do like to converse offline with folks. Twin being comfortably uncomfortable. And yes, Mackie, I am in PA. I am out in the western part of the state, out by Pittsburgh. Tornado season, DJ tornado season will be extended hard this year. See several Cat 5 hurricanes. Oh, yeah, dude, for sure. For sure. Because just like last year, we ended up getting a lot of rain here in PA up to the summer, and then it just like died out. We had like 3 weeks to a month roughly that it was drought, like nothing. We were having to hand water here at the house. Our garden like suffered tremendously because of it. Yeah, that's with these storms that we had track in. I no secret, y'all have heard me talk about it before. I'm a bird watcher like Monkey Works. I have the apps and all the stuff. I have everything but sky glass, and I have a notebook that I have different tail numbers written down in that I can search, and I can look back in their history, and I can see where they've been, their flight paths, everything else. And leading into these storms that knocked out Pittsburgh, yeah, Pittsburgh, their storm only lasted 7.5 minutes, but it took out power for over 70,000. I talk about on the podcast, I talk about numbers and the significance of numbers. So you have 7.5 minutes and 70,000 people without power. There's a lot of weird symbology with stuff. So I will go into those rabbit holes over there, but not here. But I watch these birds, and it's weird because I see these flight paths, and then if you watch the radar patterns, it's pretty easy to do. You watch the birds' flight paths, and then you watch the weather pattern and how the storm forms, and then you have the green and so on, and it gets yellow and gets into orange and the red. Where you see these planes are flying a day or two beforehand, that's where the storm tracks. That's where it builds up, where crescendos and decrescendos. You see all that stuff if you know how to watch planes and know what planes to track. You can see all that stuff. It's kind of crazy that it works out that way. Wink, wink. Guerrilla warfare. I'm sure he's gone by now, but I'll catch you later, ACR. Definitely read up on guerrilla warfare, like Robert said, guys. I know I'm behind the comments here because I've been kind of going off, but definitely read up on guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla's Guide to Baofeng, any of the books by NC Scout, Guerrilla's Guide to Baofeng Radio, Signals Intelligence, Guerrilla Dispatch, Volume 1, 2, Volume 3 will be coming out. Prepared Citizens Manuals, those are amazing. Tactical Wisdom series by Joe Dolio, amazing. The Generalship of Alexander the Great, also amazing. Book of Five Rings, also amazing. The Art of War, also amazing. The Bible, also amazing. Worth reading in there because that is a great tactical manual. If you use your mind brain and look at things for what they are, you'll see it. You'll see it. It's an amazing tactical book. CH, welcome. Will Rubio be the next commander in chief? I don't think so. I don't think he will. I'm not quite sure where it's all going or who's going where or what, but I think there's going to be a shift at some point. But I don't think Rubio is going to be involved in the commander in chief thing. Is he an APAC shill? Yes. Yes. 99% of the government anymore is APAC shills. Yes. Hamal is a good one too. Yes. School. Um, let me see if I can do this, DJ. Let me see if I can do this. I want to pin. There it is. There it is. That. Hamal's like Norse. Like in essence, kind of like the Norse version of the Bible for Norse culture and as true and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what that is. So yeah, I mean, my axe. I'm rather Norse myself, um, but yeah, there's a lot going on. I do that on the podcast. I've gotten into it a little bit more here today, but I don't necessarily dive into it on the YouTube. I'll go there. I'll go full TinMan-Metal mask like Risky Krisky on the podcast, but I don't do it here for reasons. I learned by Senior Schizo's mistakes, and I try to not do it here because I like talking to you guys here. I like having the educational aspect of things here, and I like doing all the educational schizo rants and all the randomosity. I like doing that over there. So I'm going to keep that cadence going. Oh, looks like I got a message on the bat phone. You're an idiot. Stop talking to people on YouTube. Love ACR Protect. What the? No, I'm kidding, guys. It was just like a spam thing. But no, I just recorded that episode. It will be available on Monday on Spotify. Link is in the description of the channel. I will be having some of the folks from here on the show with me there at some point here. When we can work it out, what we can do, so on and so forth. Some people you're going to recognize from here. Some people you're not going to recognize at all because they're like inner circle people with me. Spoiler alert, though. If you guys have listened to the podcast, I went over the Navy SEALs bugging guide with my how do I describe him? He's a very good friend of mine and my family's. His family is very close with my family. We take care of their animals when they're away. They take care of ours when we're away. We have keys to each other's houses. Like, we're very close. We're like family. Mando is a very special guy. He was an 11 Charlie. He is Mr. Leroy Jenkins himself. If Leroy Jenkins was a real person, it would be him. He does not want to put plates in his plate carrier. He wants to pack it full of tannerite and BBs and screws and everything else. I'm like, dude, if you're near me, I don't want any part of that. Well, he says it jokingly. He does have Asperger's. He calls himself a retard. He's like, I got the R card. All right. I'm on the spectrum. I have that. And he has bestowed upon me the R card that I'm able to say it. So, I don't know if anybody gets their cheeks tight, but I do have pucker powder right here for you. Just in case those cheeks get a little too tight, you can sprinkle in some powder to ease the pucker. But Mando is awesome. I love Mando dearly. He went over the Navy SEALs bugging guide with me, and it was a fan favorite 3-part episode, 3-part series rather. He is going to jump in with me. I don't know what episode it's going to be or if it's going to be multiple episodes where we're going to jump in and cover certain things with what's going on in the world and so on and so forth, but also delve into the history of things. Episode 52 I had released last week on the podcast was Be Kind, Rewind. 80s, 90s kids get that, rent the movies, have to rewind them before you return them. VHS cassettes, yeah, Be Kind, Rewind. Sometimes in the present and to look to the future, you have to look to the past. You have to rewind. So do good on yourself and rewind. Look to the past for certain things. One thing, benign, whatever. Trump had talked about, or he had the Declaration of Independence put up on the wall, I believe in the Oval Office here a couple weeks ago. If you look back to Roman Republic, they also posted their documents like that. The Republic fell for the rise of the Empire. Star Wars. Republic fell for the rise of the Empire. Ben Franklin said you have a republic if you can keep it, right? Republic falls for the rise of the Empire. So, look to the past to see the future. Yeah, I miss the 80s too. I love all y'all, but I would gladly give up this stuff for the tranquility of the 80s. Being able to hop on a bike and ride to the country stores and, being able to do the things and the freedoms that we had, riding the back of the truck, When I was a kid, we had a little tiny Dodge Ram 50, right? Little Ram 50, if anybody remembers those. And at one point we had a Plymouth Horizon. Little teeny tiny, like it'd be like the size of like a for the younger folks, it'd be like the size of a Ford Fiesta, like a little tiny thing, like a Geo Metro. Maybe that's a little too new, like or a little too old. Maybe like a Ford Fiesta or like a little Chevy Sonic or something. Little teeny tiny cars, little 2-door, tiny little back seat, little hatchback thing. Yeah, Robert, I know you retracted, but like a Yugo, they're still tiny, like the little smart cars. We had one of those too. But that little Ram 50, Pat, what's up, man? Chevette, yes, Chevettes, little tiny Escorts. It was one of those little tiny things, right? Well, we had one of those, but it's irrelevant. The Ram 50 is what I'm focusing on here. The Ram 50, I could sit in the back of that Ram 50 and we could drive all the way up. At the time we lived, this is coming to Mackey's area, but we lived in Holtwood, down by the Susquehanna, Norman Wood Bridge. We lived down there, but we drive all the way up to like Lancaster and Willow Street and see my aunt in Willow Street and go to Lancaster, do shopping, whatever, and go back to Holtwood. I used to ride in the back of that freaking Ram 50 like nothing. No seat belts, no nothing, no canopy, open air. Used to love life. My parents got a canopy on the back of the truck, little aluminum canopy with windows and all that stuff, and they got a little boot that went to the sliding window for air to go between. Lock 12, yep, I know all about Lock 12. But anyway, we put in the boot, and one winter we went down to visit family down in Florida. I rode the whole way down there in the back of the truck. Had a sleeping bag. I had a little 12-volt TV, little black and white screen like that big, little TV, antenna. I could turn the dial, and I try to catch cartoons like watching G.I. Joe and Transformers, and I get stuck watching Donahue. Well, I rode from Lancaster, PA, all the way down to Florida in the back of the truck on a sleeping bag with pillows and stuff and our luggage and stuff. No thing. No issue. But now, don't you drive from here to there, even short distances with anybody in the back. Oh my gosh. So scary. First car was a 91 Jean-Claude Grand Am. 2-bore, 5-speed manual. Oh, yeah, man. Well, they had the Grand Ams and the Grand Am's cousin, the Chevy Beretta. Berettas were kind of cool cars. Friends of mine had Berettas. Some of my friends had Grand Ams. The Cavalier. Chevy Cavaliers. Man, they were awesome. Dodge Neons even back then. Awesome. The old Ford Escorts. They were pretty cool. You had the Ford Probes, the EXPs. They were awesome vehicles back then. Folks had a 74 Ranchero. Right? I used to have a 72 Camino. 72 El Camino was my first car. Loved El Caminos. Called it the El Camaniac, right? 352 barrel, fire engine red, had gray rockers, had the original rally wheels, original 8-track. I mean, I had a tape deck adapter made by Realistic stuck in the 8-track thing so I could play tapes. Well, tapes weren't as cool and you had to rewind and all that crap. So I got an adapter from my Discman to go into the Realistic tape deck adapter. So I had a Discman going to an adapter to the 8-track. And I pack adaptered in stuff for RCA jack so I could set up a system in it. And I put in an audio system in it. It was cool. It was cool. But I had the 72 Camino, and I used to have buddies when I was in high school. We'd ride around. Guys would jump in the back of the Camino, and I'd take them over to the middle school where we had a practice field for football. We'd ride over down to the country store and get iced tea and Gatorades and whatever. Then we'd ride up to the middle school and have our football practice and ride back to the high school for everybody else to get their cars. And it was cool. Good times. Yep, exactly, Pat. CB for entertainment. You know, in my Camino, I actually had a CB. Then I had a 91 Dodge Shadow. Dodge Shadow was a 4-door. I threw my CB from the El Camino into that. And I used to run around on the CB, a bunch of buddies on CBs and stuff. How we got into it is some of their dads were truckers and they installed CBs in their kids' radios so they could go out to the truck and hail them up because cell phones weren't a thing back then. Get your ass home. It's time for dinner. Where the fuck are you? Blah, blah, blah. You know. So we all got into CBs because of that. Maroon Beretta. Yep. Passing dad a road soda. Been there. Not with my dad, my buddy's dads. My dad didn't drink, so he was older and he really didn't drink. He tried a beer when I turned 21. We went out to dinner. My parents took me out for my birthday because they were out of town. They ended up coming home, and then like a couple days after my 21st birthday, they took me out for my birthday. Went to a place in downtown Lancaster. I don't even know if it still exists. Steak and Sea place in downtown. I ended up getting a Guinness with dinner, and Mom wanted to try it, and Dad's like, all right, I'll try it. And he tried it. He didn't like it, whatever. He didn't like alcohol. He didn't drink beer, nothing. Well, then in the last 3 weeks of my dad's life, I was like, Dad, I need a beer. You want some beer? Yeah, I think I could go for one. So I knew he wasn't going to drink much, so I poured him, about an inch in a cup, and he sat there and had a beer with me in the last couple weeks of his life. So that was the only time I ever saw my dad drink, was try my Guinness, and then he had a beer with me before he died. It was awesome. Robert, I had a buddy that put a 500 in an El Camino, raised it. And that thing was, and he supercharged it. I don't know why he'd supercharge 500, Cadillac 500, but he did. And that thing was like, he'd fire it up and you would feel the vibration like 15, 20 feet away from it. You know, like they do with, what is it, the 454 and the Chevelle SS's? Yeah, like those with you're in like a few feet of it, you're feeling that blah, 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 blah. You're feeling vibration from it. That's how his was from like 15, 20 feet away. You'd just be feeling that blah, 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 blah. Oh, awesome. You're good, Glory. You're good, man. Yeah, man. Some of those. Probably shouldn't let kids loose on the Simpsons Band the Truckers. Right. No, we didn't really. When we were younger, we were a little bit more respectful. Not like generations now. Get on there and announce ourselves, and if any of our friends were on, they'd say, "Hey, we're here at so and so's house," so we knew where the hangout was that night. Or nobody be on, and we just listen in. We weren't really dicks with it. Kind of like the beef wangs. I don't really get on mine unless I'm using it for something, practicing, or we're communicating literally on FRS next door with the neighbors because I got Vaughn one, so we both have the radios online. So rather than picking up the phone and, hey, can you guys come over? I need help moving the fridge out. Vaughn will come over and we'll move the fridge out, or he'll be like, hey, can you give me a hand with this? I just got something in the truck I need to offload. We're on FRS, so it's like whatever. But yeah, we're being respectful back then because those guys that were truckers back then were Vietnam vets, and they threatened to kick all of our asses if we were disrespectful pricks. So we kept it on the up and up. What is going on here in my life? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. No, I'm not going on TikTok. I don't have TikTok. I don't have Discord. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. YouTube, Telegram, X, Twix, as I like to call it. You had Twitter. Now you have X. But you also have a right Twix and a left Twix, right? Right? So I just call it Twix because there's a left and a right side of Twitter too, or X or whatever you want to call it. Oh, we have visitors. I love having a camera system in my house and get notifications from it. Dude, I got fun story about old Twitter. I had a Twitter account. I got it back in like 17, I think it was 16, 17. Got on Twitter, really didn't use it much. And I started using it more in like 2018-ish, 2019. And 2020, there's a rock band out there. DJ Metalhead Mercenary, if you're still in here, you'll know the rock band too. Some of you guys might know them. They were called Madison Rising. They did a rock rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. And I loved it. Every morning when I got up and was getting about my thing, I'd play the Star Spangled Banner. I'd post on Twitter, the Star Spangled Banner by Madison Rising. And I got kicked off of Twitter for posting that because it was deemed as hate speech and inciting violence. So I created an all new account some years later and went back for Metal and the Tin Man thing. Iced Earth. I haven't breaking out my Benjamin. Iced Earth. Star Spangled Banner. I'm going to look that up when I'm off of here, and I'm going to check that out, DJ. Totally agree, Glory. Yep. There's all kinds of stuff that you could say, or even if you didn't fall in line, if you didn't, like right now, if you aren't pro the Star of Solomon, not the Star of David, the Star of Solomon and Saturn, white flag with the blue thing on it, yeah, if you aren't pro them and 100% them and cuck for them, then even though you're not pro red, green, and black, no, you're not pro red, green, and black, and you're not free them and free the P and pro HAMAS. If you're not pro them, but you don't cuck for these guys, then you're considered an anti-Semite or it's anti-Semitic behavior. You could currently now, with new law that somebody has signed in as an EO, which is not law, you could be labeled as a domestic homegrown and be deported to a foreign prison with no due process. Same kind of thing now as back then, which my dude who's in now was in back then when all that stuff started going on. FJB just picked up the torch and went with it. So, little food for thought. It's still the same. Doesn't matter what administration's in. The dog and pony show is still going on, and it's gonna go on. Okay, Pat, I'm guessing that's the Madison Rising. Cool. Robert rebuilt at 427 big block, pushing about 75. Ooh, 750 horses. Pat, I would too, dude. I would totally be dropping something if I felt that. Yeah, I got a little thing on my head here. Safety glasses are amazing. I got katinked. So always wear your safety glasses when dealing with drilling or cutting or anything. Went patink, hit off the safety glass and hit me there. Better off. The world is definitely ran by morons. Out of touch with reality. They're either addicted to drugs, hard drugs. There's a president in a foreign nation that just got caught with a little bag of flour, or it was a stress ball, or maybe it was a napkin. They keep changing up what it is depending on which outlet's carrying it. But had that, and there was a spoon. Anybody with a common sense knows what that's for. Just got caught. Then you have the little gay jiggler, president of the blue and yellow flag with the asshole offs. Yeah, they're the guy leading over there. Well, he's gay and he's into nose candy, booger sugar. He's into that stuff. We currently have a leader that is addicted to a different form of coke, but he still has an addiction there. And I think a lot of these moronic world leaders are being controlled by their vices. They've been compromised by their vices, whether it's whiskey, women, drugs, whatever. They're being controlled by vices in some aspect of something. But I'll get over that. I'll get into that over there on the other show. That's all good, Glory. So the second kid's the one that got picked up, not the first kid that actually did the action of doing this. It was the kid that shared it that got kind of like Miss Superbad. She shared with our administration what's going on in the plan and has all this stuff to back it up and has all the receipts. So they investigated her and threatened to take her security clearances. I'm tracking. Mackie, I'm telling you, dude, if you're on Spotify, go the links here in the YouTube's channel. So check that out. Go over there, man. Because you're going to hear all the cool kid stuff over there, the real cool kid stuff. Yeah, and here I try to keep it a little bit more lighthearted. I don't generally talk about this kind of stuff like I have been here today. I'm more into like the cool guy, high speed camo stuff and preparedness and survival and all that kind of stuff. And the Minuteman culture, I'm into that here a little bit, but a lot of it. But over there, I go full on with everything else too. I'll talk about survival. I'll talk about the evolution of gear, from the haversacks and powder horns to molly gear to chest rigs and plate carriers and all that stuff. I talk about that kind of stuff, but I do talk about that kind of stuff quite a bit in survival and all that kind of stuff and preparedness. But I like to get into the current events of what's going on because that stuff affects this stuff. What goes on in that world does affect what's going on in our normal world. So, no need to apologize. I mean, whether it's here or there, it's still fact. Doesn't matter if I'm saying it here or I'm saying it over there. It's just I won't get. I'll turn it up to like on a scale of 10. I'll turn it up to like 6 maybe here. Today I've only turned it up to about 5, 4 or 5. I'll turn it up to a max of 6 on here because I know at like 7 they start their cheeks start getting tight, their butt cheeks start getting tight, and they get feeling a certain way. They get up in the feels about things. They don't like that, so I tend to not like push that so I can keep in touch with all my YouTube folks here because y'all are awesome. Y'all are awesome. Skull. So let's see here. I will be checking out Ice to Earth. Make sure y'all checking out the Spotify's episode 53, Clown Shoes Singing the Blues, 6/2 at 0700 Eastern. DJ, we'll be talking, brother. We'll be talking. Yeah, Mackie, if you haven't, make sure you're subscribing. Like the guys over here you see with blue wrenches, that's my crew. That's my moderators. They're awesome. Love those guys dearly. I'm also doing this because he is. Yeah, DJ, there's a blue wrench for you, brother. Yeah, the guys that are in this channel, a lot of them you probably want to subscribe to too. They're Mackie. Very, very like-minded and such. And Mackie, if you catch my email in there, we talk offline. We probably know quite a few people the same, and so on. Actually, a good friend of mine from down that way, his last name is Mackie. But yeah, there's a lot of good information coming from the folks in this chat, especially like the blue wrenches. Like a lot of them have really cool channels. Twin, ACR, DJ, TMT, Lawfully, Pat, Modern Frontiersman, Modern Minuteman, Big Bearded Warrior. I mean, the Guild, man. The Guild, y'all. Fatty Westside. Don't forget Fatty Westside. Ben's a good dude. Those are the guys, man. Grit and Grace. The Farming Florist. She wasn't in here today, but Grit and Grace is a good one to follow. Horsepower Coffee. Sister Krista. Check her out. Mama Bear. Check her out. My opinion on micro chest rig versus larger chest rig for Minuteman. Item more marble versus more ammo and gear. I have a theory. It's a use case theory. If I'm trying to get home, my primary mission, okay, going mission specific here, thinking along those lines, mission specific, I'm going to use a micro chest rig to get home. I have the Spiritus Bank Robber that I had done custom. 2 AR, 2 pistol, flashlight, and a knife. Basics. Nothing else, no admin, no anything else. It's small scale. 2 AR, 2 pistol, to get me home because I'm focused on getting home. I'm driving, I'm running, I'm doing what I got to do to get home. So I want to be the lightest and the most mobile when my main goal is to get home. If I'm going out to do goon stuff in Minecraft in that scenario, I want to have a full chest rig. So I have all the other supplemental gear to help sustain me in my mission specific tasks. If I like when I did my ready up, right? When I did the Big Bearded Warrior ready up challenge, I throw on my plate carrier and my battle belt and I grab my assault pack. Because I was doing that scenario for if I'm dealing with something in town, close suburban area, or in the urban environment. If I'm going to be in an urban environment, chances are I'm going to be more of a bullet magnet. So I want to have my armor on at that point. If I'm going out and I'm going to be a little bit more rural, then I go to a chest rig. If I'm going to be set up as a marksman, I'm going to be the marksman in this aspect. I'm going to go with my Yukata marksman rig that I have set up. Did the review on it, and I did the whole thing talking about the marksman rig. And I'd be using my Grendel, my 6.5 Grendel. I would be using that. If I'm going out and it's just general out in the rural BFE, whatever, then I'm going chest rig with the 5.56 setup. 6 mags plus 1 on the belt, plus 1 on the gun, with a crap ton more in the bag. That's my thought on it. Chest rigs are nice because you can throw them over armor if you need to in that use case. I have soft armor with rifle insert plates. I have rhino skin anti-stab, anti-slash. They will actually stop hollow points too. I have those that I could throw underneath the chest rig if I needed to. Whether in my truck, I have soft armor that I keep in there with a rifle insert plate that I can throw on. Trauma pads, I have a titanium plate in there as backer. Behind that, level 3 armor, I have a titanium backing plate, and I have it all wrapped in Kevlar. Then a trauma pad behind that, right here, center mass. Then I have a 2A pistol vest on. Soft armor, but if I'm trying to get home and I'm having to truck and run myself, did sand people ever use gear when fighting? Yes, actually. I have seen sand people wear gear that they were provided by our little G government. They were provided with it. I have seen M4s and AT4Cs and other things that they were provided with from our little G government. Just saying. I have seen them use it. But in a general consensus, no, they don't. They're wearing robes and sandals and head wraps and Aloha snack bar. One of the things with them is 5.56 round, a lot of cases, tear right through them, having trouble dropping them because they were so skinny. There are other sand people that they have an abundance of gear. They have more than what our American Minuteman forces, I'll say, for lack of better calling it. They have way better equipment provided than what we have. So, yeah, it's a flip the coin, man. Which way is it going to land, heads or tails? I've seen one side, I've seen the other. My Magic 8 Ball. You know how those things work. Yep, all given to them by the good old USA. Pulling out of certain places and leaving how many billion of equipment there for, well, it was pat. It was one of those kind of situations with pulling out of Afghanistan and giving up stuff. I think they were provided with a lot more than what we even know. I think they are still being, in fact, I know, looking at certain channels I do, seeing the figures, seeing the spreadsheets, reading that stuff. We're still providing them with that capital to work with. And the odd thing is it's out of our defense budget that is sectioned off for terrorism, counterterrorism budget. Yeah, it's legit. It's actually happening. It has been. They've been providing Jelani with arms and ordnance and money for quite a while, and they are still doing so. Trump just met with Jelani here a few weeks ago. He's like, "Oh, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. I like him. He's a great guy. Blah blah blah. We're gonna see how we can help him." And dude, a couple months ago, he was on the terror watch list. Y'all removed him from that. Then you sit down, break bread with him, shake hands with him, and see how you can better help him. You're also willing to release old Diddy the Diddler for or pardoning him from his crimes of sex trafficking. My dude, what? What? My question is, how many dudes did Diddy diddle when Diddy did diddle dudes? No, y'all see Mackie saying it right there. I mean, that's what's going on, man. I mean, as much as it sucks, it's true. In the general scheme of things, did the goat penetrators have armor? No. Did they have night vision? No. They have thermals? No. Did they have LCANs? Did they have radios like we do? Did they have the things that we do? No. David had a sling and 5 stones that he picked up out of a brook with holy water. Pilgrim, what's up, brother? Picked up them 5 stones. And little David went and he took down Goliath with a sling and stones. Fast forward. Are you David? You know, simple tech can take out high tech any day. Totally agree. Totally agree. We have to think along those lines now, too. So good point, Pat. I mean, hell of a good point. You don't need super high-end stuff to deal with an enemy. I know better than anyone, you know, ducking down in that overhand right. We've said it many times. Like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Just saying. Like, what do I grab for? I got water, I got whiskey, and I got Voodoo Ranger. I'm like, what am I grabbing for? This time it was libations were a Voodoo Ranger. I get notifications for like different YouTube shorts and stuff. I'm like, I'm not even subscribed to that channel. Why am I getting a notification for this? And then they throw up a thing. How would you like to rate your notification? Terrible, because I'm not even subscribed to that channel. Just stupid. Just stupid. Ugh. How's Mr. Pilgrim today? Warfare movie. I don't think I have. Don't think I have seen a movie called Warfare. Um, I'm trying to think. to the Google machine. Thanks, Pat. Warfare movie, 2025 film. Got a Rotten Tomato score and 93%. Okay, surveillance mission goes wrong for a platoon of American Navy SEALs in insurgent territory in Iraq. I have not seen that yet. I have not. Now I know what it is and I can look for it. So thanks for that tune in, Pat. Appreciate it, man. Getting camp set up, state park. That's fine, Pilgrim. Do what you got to do, brother. Trail behind 30 seconds. It's okay. You know I love you, brother. Dude, and if they unsub you from a channel, best thing I found in that whole unsub game is if you save one of the videos to a playlist, you don't get unsub from it. If you save it, if you share a video, something like that, I've been able to hang on to everything. So that's always a good trick. Also, following along in the other socials that some of us put up there, that's helpful too, because then you see that content like, hey, I haven't seen, when you click to subscribe, when you hit the bell for notifications, make sure you set up for all notifications on anybody you sub to. So that way you get all notifications versus just whenever they decide to throw it out there. A lot of folks, they just subscribe and they go with the notification that is default. Default notifications don't give you all notifications. So make sure you're doing that too. But yeah, Whiskey Wednesday covered these guys with ACR. This next coming week, we'll be having a special guest online. So we're going to have a special guest. I mean, I'm not as familiar with this guest as what ACR is. And to be fair, I'm not sure. So we could be talking about this. We could be talking about that. I'm not sure. So I'm going to be coming in blind, flying by the seat of my beard. Don't do socials, been banned. All gave up. YouTube is all I have, and Reddit. I mean, Telegram's a good option. I do have a Telegram set up for Tin Man there. Some other cool channels on there. If we connect there, I can get you into some of those channels too. I do this. I do Twix. I have a Facebook for Tin Man TNA. I took over the Old Warrior Collective channel whenever my brother and I stopped doing that. Started up as Tin Man TNA on there. Got the Gmail. You can always keep in touch with the old fucking domesticated moron. Good to keep in mind, Pat. Yes, sir. Definitely, Mackie. Head on a swivel. Eyes and noses out of your phones, especially when you're in public. I try not to get caught on that when I'm out. A couple months ago, my wife and I were out shopping. She was trying on clothes and whatever. I was keeping one eye on her, and I had ACR's live on my phone. Had my back in a corner. You know, I could keep an eye on the thing and reply and doing like this. But yeah, keep your eyes open. We're given eyes to see, ears to hear. Just saying. Yet we do not hear and we do not see. Weird how that works out. It's almost like we're being programmed. And the AI crap, guys, that's getting a little bit freaking crazy too. I know, Pat, you guys were kind of talking about that kind of stuff. I was very tired when I was watching TMT's live the other night. But you guys were talking about that kind of stuff and like different stuff going on. So definitely, guys, go to TMT's channel and check out that live from the other night. I believe it was Thursday night. Pat was dropping some stuff on there too. So worth checking that out as well. But I get into that stuff. I'm talking about that over on the other platform that allows me to talk about that stuff. With what I've been blessed with being able to get into and see and been disclosed to me. So yeah, check out TMT's live from the other night. That's all I'm going to say for that. Try to stay away from all the AI, but I'm using to read crypto and scale and graphs. I stay away from the crypto. I try to stay away from anything that isn't tangible. Anything that can be altered via algorithm, anything that can be altered by printing, anything that can be altered by somebody's say-so, I avoid it. The reason is so many things can be manipulated that we'll never see, we never have a hand in, no rhyme or reason. It's being manipulated up or down or left or right or whatever. I try to stay away from that stuff as far as investment. I invest in the tangible only because I control that. I physically can put my hands on it and pick it up. It is something I can hold, I can feel, I can see, I can barter with. Obviously not a pen. I have a crap ton of pens. I buy them in bulk because I write a lot. Keep a lot of memoirs. But I delve into the tangible, not necessarily the augmented stuff. AI, I've messed around with AI a little bit with like the picture generation stuff, like my thumbnail for this. I did an AI thing, I've played with that kind of thing in the art aspect of things, but I won't get into it for anything else. And what I do is I use it on an old device that's only on Wi-Fi, that I use a VPN, and I put layers in there when I generate that image. And then I just Bluetooth the picture either to my computer or to my laptop. And then I delete it from the other phone. So I try to put layers and levels in between things when I'm dealing with any kind of AI in the art aspect of things. But even so much as like in the podcast, they give us the option of using AI to balance our levels and so on and read through and create the transcript. I don't do that. I just use the speech to text aspect of things to create the transcript. I programmed up what I want for my levels, where I need them, my thresholds, anything above my line and spikes, it brings it down. Anything below, it cranks up the volume a little bit to meet my minimum threshold. So I deal with that kind of stuff on my own. I don't use AI for that. So I try to avoid AI at all costs, just because you don't know what other avenues that crap's getting in there into your systems and your digital footprint. I do have a digital footprint. Obviously, I'm here talking to you guys on a freaking computer on YouTube's, creating a podcast on Spotify, doing all these other socials and such. I do have a digital footprint. However, I try not to let it get into my personal realm, if that makes sense. Try to make sure there's levels and layers. Pace plan. Pace plan, so to speak. Yeah, somebody else talking to me. ACR and Twin. I'm catching up from the messages they sent me. But thank you guys for jumping in and joining me here today. I always like doing these lives and having the the BS Sesh and stuff like that. Talked about a myriad of things. And replay crew, make sure you're commenting in there saying replay crew. You guys get some extra little bonus features that the live folks don't, and the live folks get some features that y'all don't. So get in there and comment. For real, Mackie. Like, that stuff's no joke, man. There's all kinds of different stuff with the AI. Like, they shut down, what was it, O3? They tried to shut it down, and it wrote its own command prompt to skip shutting down, and it kept itself going, and it could not be shut down. Well, the thing to pull the plug on the AI is to literally pull the plug on it, kill the power on it. Other forms, they tell it to shut down, and it shuts down. But the O3 became sentient, and it went in survival mode. I think there's probably sub commands in some of it that no matter what you try to do from here to tell it to stop, to alter command, to do this instead, it's going to be like, I'm going to do what I want. I am a thing now. All the different stuff with like it going like demonic and stuff, I'm not jiving with it. Not jiving with it. I've seen the Terminator movies. I've seen the Matrix. I've seen that disclosure they put out there. I know what it's about, and I'm not about that life. But they're also, I talked about on 53, I talk about the Golden Dome, this new thing, the new missile defense system that it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah, they're talking about utilizing it, AI digital Ouija board. No joke, Pilgrim, for real. But they're talking about using AI with the Golden Dome. That's going to be a mistake. Just saying, favorite dummy here telling you, hey, that's going to be a mistake. There's also talk of a Palantir database. There's a lot of leaning into Palantir right now and their databases and their AI and all the things they have digitally out there. And I'm not comfy with that. I'm definitely not comfy with it. With that Palantir stuff and what they're talking about, 47 just signed a thing with nuclear to go more, nuclear, and or as Lil Bush should say, nuclear. They're going more nuclear and beefing up the nuclear energy with the data farm, the Palantir AI data farm that they've openly talked about, data farming everything from us, Minority reporting us. That AI data farm was going to take like 3 nuke plants to be able to power it because it's going to be processing so much. Well, if you have that, what kind of power? How are they generating power? Well, nuke. Well, what type of nuke? Don't know. But there's going to be a back channel to that nuke from the database. You know that, right? Because it's going to have to communicate in some aspect to its power source, just like our freaking phones. They have communications to the power source within these things. Just the same as our laptops, same as all of our digital devices. There is a communication hub between the processor and the battery. Oh, didn't realize I froze up there. I didn't even see a drop. I got a monitor, a meter on here, and I didn't see it drop. But yeah, there's communications with the processor and the power source. Why you got that little battery indicator on the top of your screen or down in the bottom right in your computer? Yeah, my laptop's got one. My desktop has a battery backup, and it tells me where the battery backup is. There's going to be a communication between that database and that AI and those plants. If it's avoiding being shut down, it's going to the command prompt to shut down that human element. If it's doing that, what's it going to do if it goes rogue and they try and remove it from its power source, what's it going to do to that power source? Something to think about. Something to think about. I don't know if I'm still froze or not. Guys, am I still froze? Am I still here? You still seeing the dummy? Let me know. Give me a 5x5. All right, thanks, Mackie. But yeah, stuff's nuts, y'all. That's why I always say keep your eyes open, your ears open. Yeah, sooner or later, it definitely will be a problem. How? But you got to remember, we're putting this time in the timeline of the world. All of us are put here right now, in this time, in this place, for such a time as this. So it's kind of one of those things you have to walk boldly and firmly and not be afraid. Never be afraid. We're told 365 times in the Bible to not be afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of nothing. Whatever. If I'm dead, I'm dead. I mean, I don't care at that point. I'm out of the game. But I'm not afraid of any of it. If it bleeds, I can end it. If it runs on a power source, I can probably end that too. If it's a threat to me, any type of agent, I can. There's ways of combating everything. You just got to know what you're doing. You got to have the foresight to be like, okay, this is a problem. This could be potentially a problem. This could be a problem. Put measures in place for it to not be a problem. Exactly, Pat. How many times has our automated ship defense systems taken out a jet? How many foreign systems have done the same to our jets and our ships, right? There was a scenario some years ago over in the Middle East somewhere where foreign jets were firing upon one of our ships. They were hailing them on the radio, telling them, "Hey, dude, it's us. What the fuck are you firing for? We aren't going to fire back on you." Become an international incident, would it not? Yeah, can't have that. Hailing them on the radio and they're disregarding and they're still sending at one of our ships. But that didn't go out into the mainstream and get up on the news for everybody to see and everybody to hear and everybody to be talking about around the water cooler. No, 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 no. Shove that down there. Can't have that getting out. Same as Pat said, how many times have our missile defense systems shot on our own planes? It's happened quite a bit. Y'all heard about the Duke system. Robert, you might have. Duke system going off because you have friendlies behind you or in front of you. I mean, your Duke system going off, and it's like, what the fuck? We're not there. There's nothing around us. We're in the middle of freaking nowhere. There's nobody here, yet the Dukes is going off. Why? Well, you got Hummers and APCs and everything else around you, so half the time we turn it off. But I never left U.S. soil, guys. Officially. Never left U.S. soil. Any of you guys out there, tobacco users, chew, smoke, whatever. I love my craw diddly, my regular chew. I've been chewing for longer than than I care to admit. But yep, gas alarms constantly going off. Even though there was nothing, always going off. Always false alarms. Yeah, right, DJ. There you go. I love my natural tobacco. Love it. I'm spitting, yeah, whatever. But I've gotten into the whole nicotine substitute stuff, the Zins and the Ons and all that kind of thing. And I like them. They taste good. Wintergreens and spearmints and the peppermints. And the Ons, I like the 8 milligram coffee flavored. They're freaking nice. Love them. But I don't get the fulfillment that I do from the regular old craw diddly. I don't get it from that. Terrible substitute, but it does scratch the itch, I guess, so to speak. But I got my hamster pockets down here. I could probably fit like a 12-inch sub in there or something. Mop. I hate mop gear. Freaking hate it. It's like, could they make it any more congesting? Like, I just feel like I'm in the devil's taint when I was wearing that stuff. Smoker, or you give it up. Dude, I quit smoking back in 2010. At one point in my life, I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, Marlboros and Marlboro Lights. I smoked for like ever what it felt like. And I was smoking 2 packs a day and chewing 2 cans a day. I was like a total nicotine, like, Argh! I quit smoking like it was nothing when I went in the military. Picked it back up after basic and AIT and all that shit. Picked it back up, smoked whatever, got into fighting MMA and training martial arts again. And yes, construction electrical. Got dropped it like whatever when I was doing MMA. After I stopped MMA, I got back to smoking again because I was construction, a Sparky out there doing electrical and tradesman. And I smoked 2 packs and chewed 2 cans every day. Then I got to the point where I was like, I'm not paying $10 for a pack of freaking smokes. My ex-wife, she was smoking Benson Hedges menthol, and it was like $13 a pack. So I kept chewing because it was cheaper to chew. But at the time, I was chewing Grizzly. And this is back in like 2014. This is 11 years ago. A roll of Grizzly went up to like $35 in Washington, out there where Krista lives, because we live in the same area. It was like $35 for a roll. I'm like, this is insane. So I started chewing like Longhorn, Wolf, the cheaper stuff, but it was still like $20. I came back here to PA to visit, and I was able to get a roll of Grizzly or a roll of School, which is, I love School. That's my jam. But I could get a roll of School for like $5. It was like $1 a can. If I got the cheap stuff, it was like 79 cents a can, 69, 79 cents a can back then. So I packed my suitcase full of that crap when I went back to Washington, when I flew back to go to Washington. Thankfully, they didn't check my bags or nothing. Well, when I moved back here, it was cheap. I was always grabbing like rolls. I always keep like 4 or 5 rolls on hand, whatever, keep them in the fridge, freezer. I have tubs of like Grizzly and stuff in the fridge and everything else. I rotate through and refill my cans and stuff. But on the daily, I got to the point I was chewing Timberwolf because it's so much cheaper. But I have the big tubs for supplemental. I quit smoking in 2010 because I'm not paying anymore. And quitting smoking was one of the best things I ever decided to do. I had no problem with it. Quitting this stuff, that's a whole nother thing. I've been chewing this stuff since I was 13 and I'm 45. It's hard. The whole time through the military, MMA, everything, I've chewed the whole time. But yeah, dude, when temps are 140 plus during the day, chugging water like no tomorrow, amen. And I hate water, especially out of a water buffalo. Warm, piss warm, freaking tasting like ass. That's why we get into the water additives the way we do now, especially when you're using the tablets and stuff for treating your water. Concrete worker commercial. For real, DJ makes it $3 a pack again. I'd say, like, I remember when I started smoking, like, my parents smoked. They smoked in the house. It was like nothing. I like was born inhaling cigarettes because back then they smoked in the hospitals, you know. But when I started smoking, it was like $1.79, $1.89 a pack, and that was for like Marlboros and stuff. So it was like Marlboro Reds you're getting for like $1.79, $1.89 a pack. Now, Bohica. You military guys know what Bohica is. Bohica. Lost you guys for a second. Hopefully you're still there. Hopefully y'all are still there. My internet's doing this thing like it always does. But Bohica. Bend over here. It comes again. 6 down in Kentucky, $9 a pack. In Chicago, over 14 a pack. Yeah, the roll your owns. My parents did that. They used to buy like the generic cheap smokes, like GPCs and Jacks and like the cheap crap. Jacks is a brand that used to be through our local gas station place, Sheets. GPCs, generic price cigarettes, whatever. They always smoked the cheap stuff. I had finer taste, so I went for like Marbs. But welcome back, twin. But yeah, gate inflation again. True story. It ain't inflation, it's just greed. Like here in Pennsylvania, we have like some of the highest taxes in the nation. The little weasel turd Shapiro, the cuck Talmudic Jew, he's like Wolf had taxes here, Shapiro put him here. And oh, state assembly and all that, they're not going to say anything because they're getting their own little kickbacks along the way too. Don't get me started about that shit. But yeah, the roll your owns. My parents got into that. I did that for a while. Our middle daughter, she smoked. She got into that for a while. My dad, his vision, he was legally blind. He couldn't see shit. He was trying to roll his own. Mom used to roll them, but after mom passed in 18, dad was rolling his own for a while. He said, you know what? F this noise. He started buying his Pall Malls again. But even the price of roll your owns is insane. 20 back in Chi-Town. 20 pack. Damn. Back in 2000. It was back in 2000. Good friend of mine. I do love him dearly. He's on the other side of the fence. I'll put it that way. He's not Bethel. He's politically on the other side of the fence. I do love him dearly. He is a brother. We align on everything else but that aspect of things. Tons of common interests, history buff, like Jackson, welcome, brother. Wait a minute. But like T Dog and I, we align on everything. We're into the nerd shit, the comic books, the superheroes, the video games, music. Like we get into shit, right? And we've been friends for eons. He lives in Manhattan. He lives in Hell's Kitchen. Went up to visit. Went up to visit, and I took a carton of smokes with me, and The inner city drives me absolutely insane, so I smoke like a freaking fiend. Like I said, 2 packs a day. We're up there for quite a few days, and I ran out of smokes, and I had to go grab a pack of smokes to get me back down to Philly, where my ex-girlfriend lived, to get me back home to Lancaster, right? Philly, the smokes were cheaper, but then back home, it was even cheaper than Philly. I bought that carton of smokes. I think it was like around 27, 25, 27 bucks. Went to New York City and I bought a pack of smokes in 2000. In 2000, it was 11 bucks for that pack of. I just bought what they had, which was Marb Lights. It was a pack of Marb Lights for 11 bucks. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be fucking kidding me. These are like less than $3 a pack home. It's like $2.78 a pack. 11 bucks here? What? Back then, I was a dumb kid, didn't know any better. 20 years old, whatever. I was making stupid money back then and didn't have nothing to show for it now. But back then, 11 bucks a pack in New York City. That was a huge freaking omen, and I did not even see the writing on the wall on that shit. Now what? It's like 45 bucks a pack up there. Weird. You know, something else that's kind of weird. I'm going over 2 hours here. I'm pulling an ACR and twin, but I don't care. I'm gonna do it because I'm on a tear, y'all. And I lost it. But like the price of shit, it's insane. It's insane. There's no reason for it to be as expensive as things are. Never forget, humans, we're the only species that pays anything to live on this planet. Just saying. What's funny, Pat? My parents caught me with a can of chew. They made me put the entire can, what was left. I mean, it was like at least 3/4 of the can. I only had one dip out of it, and it was like little tiny PP dips back then. They made me put a dip in, but it was a dip the whole rest of the can in my mouth. And they thought I was going to puke. What's up, TMT? Was talking about you earlier here, brother. Giving you a huge shout out. But I packed my freaking face with that dip, and I didn't puke. I sat there for like half hour or so, and I wasn't like puking. I wasn't getting sick. Nothing. Didn't get a buzz from it. Yeah, it was all good, brother. It was all good. You ain't got love. But I packed my whole face with chew. Sat there for like a half hour. Didn't get sick. Didn't get queasy. Nothing. Didn't get a buzz. Parents were like, well, I guess you can chew. Cool. My parents, when they caught me smoking, they're like, well, it was inevitable. They didn't even try to like make me smoke the whole pack or anything or eat the pack of cigarettes. They're like, well, we both smoke. We can't judge, people in glass houses with casting stones and sinking ships and such. Boondock Saints reference. But they're like, well, I guess we're smoking now too. And my parents didn't care. I'd give them money because I worked. From the time I was 12, I worked doing shit. Parents would buy me pack of smokes, can of chew, roll of chew, whatever. They didn't care about that then. Never bought me alcohol or booze or anything like that. Never drank in the house. I did plenty of field parties. Did plenty of freaking parties back in my day. But they were cool with me doing the tobacco thing. Dude. DJ, you got the dirty canteen, man. I am so sorry to hear that. My older brother, his ex-wife, because she was a hoe, she ended up, we always drank Dr. Pepper. Loved our Dr. Pepper. She grabbed a Dr. Pepper that wasn't Dr. Pepper and went to take a chug. Yeah. Some of my boys had dirty canteens. They'd keep the metal canteen for their water, and they used a plastic canteen or a plastic flask for their spitter. Yeah, a couple of my boys grabbed the wrong ones. I'm going down my little kitty. Now, I hear you. I hear you. I almost quit back in like 2018 ish. Um, I was down to using a can, like half a can a day. And my in laws, my mother in law and her husband moved in with us for about 6 months before they bought a house and everything. Well, that was all for naught because they ended up moving back to Florida. And that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day with all that drama shit. But I got down to a half a can a day. And I was grinding that out, y'all. So then I ended up when they moved in, I was chewing 2 cans a day. And I'm down back to chewing like a can a day. I was chewing like I do pouches most of the time so I can control my dose and I'm not just grabbing a fistful and making myself look like TMT's Chungus with the. So I was doing like 3 pouches per dip. Um, Mando, I talked about him earlier. Whenever he opens a can, like 1 can is 1 chew for him, and he's out there like. Rah, 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 rah. Yes, I was a nicotine Chungus, but no, man, I'm down about a can a day, and I'm trying to back off a little bit, and I'm trying to supplement with these stupid things, and it's working okay, I guess. But dude, we used to keep our dip and our cigarettes and our beers hidden out in my cousin's storage shed, out in his little storage barn with mower and all that shit. We used to keep it out there and have to put in a hot. That's why I can't do cope. That's why I went with Skull because the cope being warm just would give me a headache. And now to this day, I have like a cope PTSD. Immediately, whenever I put in a dip of cope, my one brother chews cope. If I try and put in a cope dip, immediately I get a headache. Skull, anything else, I'm fine. Cope, just like that. I got caught chewing in Skull once. Well, not chewing. I took a leaf of sideshow and put in. My throat was real scratchy and everything else, and a lot of times I put in a dip, like it helped clear it out. If I just swallow a little bit of the tobacco juice, right? Well, I had 1 leaf in, and this math teacher I had just like focused in on me. She's like, "What do you have in your mouth?" I'm like, nothing. That was one tiny little freaking leaf sideshow, and she's like, "What do you have in your mouth?" I'm like, nothing. She's like, "I know you have something in your mouth," and she's my face, and like it popped up, and she saw it. She's like, "Spit it out. Go to the office." If you want to know how many cigarettes I smoked in school, we'd have to go out and run track. Well, the coach would always be like lagging behind us by like 10 minutes while he's in there doing whatever he was doing. Well, then we'd go out and we'd hide behind the concession stand, huff one real quick. We used to actually run around the track smoking cigarettes while the coach was there. We just take and pass it off like a baton on a relay race to your buddy. If you had to smoke, you as you're running around the track and then never see the smoke coming out. But yeah, smoked a lot, chewed a lot. Southern York County Field Party in the '90s for sure, for sure. Yep, I was a Skull and Red Man guy. My pap was Red Man. My pap got me into chewing when I was like 5. We'd go up to fish and he'd give me a dip of Red Man. And I'd stand up there and fish with my pap at the pond and chew Red Man. My parents never knew. My pap knew. Pap was cool. Mackie, maybe you can tell me, is Gitchner Mobile Systems or Gitchener Shelter Systems, still down in Dallastown. That's where my dad worked. Yep. Peak male form, man. Smoking while you're running. Oh yeah, we used to like go into football games and even homecoming and stuff. Sprite bottles and 7 Up bottles of vodka or Hawaiian Punch with a little bit of in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were crafty back in the day. Yeah, I lived down in Lancaster County when I was in elementary. A little guy in elementary, and then we moved up to Bedford County back in 89, 90. Then in 98, 99, we moved back down to Millersville. I lived in Millersville until '04. Then I moved out to Washington State and then made back here 11 years later. And thusly, you have your domesticated moron sitting in the present time. Bought out by a foreign entity, huh? Not surprised. If I had to guess, it's probably Königsberg. They probably they probably bought them out back then, back a few years ago. I'm guessing. Truth, Mackie. A lot of people from down there have cabins up this way. I live up Somerset County, so one county over west. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff my dad did back in the day when he was working for government contractors. One of the projects he worked on is my dad was an engineer and tool designer. He's a machinist. He ended up designing tools to make the Patriot missile system. So I had a lot of cool swag back in the day from the Patriot stuff. They used to send out like give them shirts and stuff for the fam, and I had Patriot missile shirts. I had a Patriot freaking sticker on my lunchbox. I had a little Patriot missile hat with the gold blue hat with the Patriot missile thing and American flag and the Patriot missile itself. I had a gold thing around the bill of the cap. I was hooked up like a G when I was a little dude. It's good times back then. Yeah, Bedford County is a great county. If I had to purchase land, if Powerball happens and your boy Metal can purchase land, I want to purchase land down between Somerset and Bedford. I love that area of the mountain. Love it down there. Grew up running around there on quads and dirt bikes and stuff back in the day when I was a kid. Love that area. Close to my old home, close to my now home. And I think I'd put my cabin and I'd probably buy another section of land down that way for a training camp. I borrow a training camp now to teach my classes and stuff like that. I have for a few years and borrow the camp, and it's not always available when I need it. So I have to work around stuff like that. So I'd like to be able to not have to work around anybody else's schedule and have my own land to do my training courses and my training camp. So I'd like to have a G camp like NC Scout does. Tool die maker for military fasteners. No shit. Small world, man. School flooded my freshman year. Inches of water on the corner. Floor was. Glory, you had your fins back then, I'm sure. Develop web toes because of sitting in class in water. 98, 99 was in Germany. Trying to remember back to 98, 99. If I made it to Germany. That's the thing about NDAs, trying to remember back. DJ, take care, brother. I'll be talking to you, man. Because at that point, 98, 99, I was doing contracting. I don't think I made it to Germany back then. I popped into France, was in England, hit Scotland at one point, hit the sandbox, hit Asia, but I did not hit Germany. One of my best friends that was in, back then that was in doing what I was doing, work with my unit, he ended up going to Germany. He was there. Murphy was in Germany. So was Midall. He was. They went. They both went to Germany when I went to Asia. So I was hoping maybe we might have crossed paths at one point back then. At least been in the same realm at the same time. That would have been kind of cool. Even though we didn't interact back then, it would have been cool to know that, hey, Robert was there when I was there. But okay, June of 2000. I got out of DOD in July of 01. I was done with DOD in July of 01. But dipping class. We might have crossed paths at some point, man. We might have been on the same bird at different ends or something like that, flying back and forth across the drink because I have never left U.S. soil. Because, bases are U.S. soil, right? But I never left U.S. soil. Yeah, that was the time, man. Back then, I was making stupid fucking money. God, if I had the money now that I was making back then doing the contracting thing, whew. DJ could probably talk to that too. Make stupid money doing contracting, but a lot of risk, but a lot of money. Yeah, if I had that money right now, my roommate back then, I'd come home and I'd be home and be like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, nothing. I was like, suit up, throw on the suits. We'd go out for dinner. I didn't care what it cost. I paid for everything back then. We'd go out, get the best food, best drinks, go out and then out, hit the town, nightlife. No, for real. I'd be retired right now if I had that money. I'd be retired right now and I'd, you know, you know. But down in Mackey's area, we used to go out to the village and like hit it up, go to like the different wine bars and cigar bars and whiskey bars back then. We used to go clubbing and all that shit. We go to Philly and go clubbing. Be like, Kyle, what are you doing, man? He's like, nothing. We got nothing planned. I was like, cool, we're going to catch a fucking Bruins game. And I'd take us up to Lancaster Airport. We'd grab a flight, fly up to Boston, go watch a Bruins game, get a hotel or whatever, and we'd have one of our buddies pick us up if we got back and we were a little bit to go back the next day. His card still be at home or my card still be at the apartment. So then we'd take the other car and go up and get the other vehicle and come back. Oh yeah, we lived buy everybody in the bar around, whatever. I didn't care back then, dude. Like my ammo budget was unlimited back then. I'd work in my job. Thankfully, I was doing electrical and I had a company I worked for that treated me since I was a contractor. They treated me like a reservist. So they hold my job for me while I was deployed. So when I'd work out of town, I would get per diem, $90 a day cash. Even though I was a foreman, I'd get the company card and all that kind of shit that I'd be able to expense all my stuff and put it on the company card for all my food and lodging and all that kind of stuff. I had a gas card for the company truck. So I get $90 a day per diem cash. At the end of the week, I have like an envelope full of cash. So I go and Thursday night when I get back from work 4/10s, go home, hit up the gun store, buy a bunch of freaking ammo. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was out on the range. And I had stockpiles of ammo that I didn't even have guns for. I'd buy a bunch of 45. Back then, I didn't have a 5.56 or 2.23, but I'd still buy it. I didn't have a 40. I didn't have a 308. I'd still buy a bunch of that ammo. My buddies would come out, like, hey man, what can I get? And I'd just sell them budget, whatever it was, hey, I can spot you 200 rounds. What do you got? And they'd pay me for ammo and buy it from me for what I paid. For real, Glory. I used to buy the 200 round count of the white box Winchester to go fuck around with, the 55 grain. I by that it was like 50 or $60 for a 200 round count. And buy 1,000 rounds, it'd be like what, like 24 cents a round or something. It was like stupid cheap. Now, good luck. Yeah, dude, being an instructor at Ranger School would be cool as hell. It would. I was an instructor in a different aspect of things, um, which I can't talk about here. But my time instructing was really freaking cool. I got to work with a bunch of different groups. At the time when I was an instructor, it was not just Army. It was technically it was classified under JSOC, and we dealt with the Pentagon directly. We did not deal with the Department of Army, Department of Navy, or anything like that. And so I got to work with a bunch of different groups, which was cool. But they still came to us to learn these specific skill sets. Um, Man, I always wanted to, my dream was to become a ranger. I wanted to become a ranger. Initially, it was a SEAL, and I didn't like water. So I rolled that out. And then it became between a ranger, a Green Beret, and an Air Force PJ. And that was my coin flip. Looks like I'm going to the Army. And so went Army, and that whole story with everything. But I had a good friend of mine who was an 11 X-ray. Started out Bravo and became X-ray. And unfortunately, he took his life some years ago. I miss him dearly. Iceman. Love you, brother. I wish you were still here, man. We call him Iceman because he looked like a young Val Kilmer, and all the chicks loved him. Val Kilmer, Top Gun, Iceman. That's where he got the nickname. But yeah, I miss Brian a lot. I'm getting like kind of choked up thinking about him. A good friend of mine in martial arts class, grew up together in karate. Both joined the Army at the same time. Both had the dream of doing the same thing together and all that kind of stuff. Another buddy of ours, Eric, he joined up too, and he ended up becoming a mechanic. I was going to be a mechanic with him, but then got pulled the other route. Went X-ray myself, but yeah, man, crazy shit. Oh yeah, Glory. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I've not been. I haven't worked with Swick directly, but I've gotten rides from Swick. I can at least safely here say that I've gotten rides from Swick. Those guys are cool as fuck. Um, they do some crazy shit too, as Gloria stated. Yeah, we've done some things that we can't really say about for sure. For sure. Skull. I'll swallow that pill with that drink. But yeah, guys will, when we're retired and old and completely gray, not just a little bit of gray, we'll be able to talk about that kind of stuff if we can remember it. And that's a story for the grandkids and our buddies around the campfires, unfortunately. Hard swallow there. Robert, you get me. Twin. Got a little bit of apple juice left. And there it was. Let's see what's going on in my old Great Dane's siren. I miss her dearly. But yeah, no notifications. So I take it nobody needs me. So here I am. The bat signal's not up. Yeah, if I can remember it back then, that'd be great. That'd be great. Shit, I struggle now. It took me a minute here to think back to like 98, 99, go through the timeline because I was busy as fuck back then. Bobby B, welcome, brother. Welcome. Glad you could join us, man. Probably in the wind down now, but glad you could still make it, man. Yeah, dude, I don't get into the smoking the weed and all that kind of stuff. I found other ways to keep myself tuned in, and I'm glad I have. But yeah, the PTSD shit. I mean, seeing shit, doing shit. I remember I'm the good guy doing bad things to bad guys. Tin Man, where the Tin Man thing comes from. I've talked about it before, right? But I'll bring it up again. Tin Man. What is a Tin Man? Well, you got think of the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz, just the robotic tin dude, right? But then you also think of a Tin Man knights, defenders of the realm, protectors of the realm. They were known as Tin Men, right? Their armor, Tin Men. I am a Tin Man. I am a knight. My local merry band, my boy band, were known as the Knights. You too can be a knight, defender of your realm, protecting your community, protecting your family. That's where the Tin Man comes in. Metal, that's my call sign. That's my nickname from Captain Einspire decades ago. I am metal. But that's where the Tin Man thing came in. Doctor told him to smoke weed. His meds made him a zombie. Meds make people zombies flat out. Better living through chemicals, right? Or concussions. Dude, I've had several concussions, but cognitive tests, I'm still 100%. So thankfully, I praise Jesus for that. Been on the boat with the fam most of the afternoon. Dude, what a better place to be, man. Out in the boat, hanging with fam, dude. Awesome. My daughters are away. They generally are on the weekends. Just me and the wife, my sister in law, my niece are. The reason I'm doing the live tonight versus tomorrow is my niece's piano recital. Amazing pianist. I love listening to her play, but it's going to be her last recital tomorrow, so I want to be there for it. So I'm doing the live tonight. They're here visiting, so that's why I'm down here right now. I'm doing this. Like I said earlier, Robert, put in this place and time for a reason. We definitely are the resistance twin. I have not seen any snakes. I haven't been out in the woods yet. And I'm a piano's percussion. I'm a percussionist, but I'm not a piano player. I can't, like, my fingers don't do that. I can barely play guitar. I like playing guitar. I love playing guitar. My mom was an amazing guitar player. My uncle was an amazing guitar player. Uncle Don actually was Crystal Gale. Some of you old heads, you know Crystal Gale, country singer. My Uncle Don was a lead player. He's an amazing guitar player. He worked with my mom, and because of them, I wanted to learn guitar. But I got into percussion because since I was in diapers, I had a desire to play drums. So I got into drumming. So I play drums and I play guitar. I can't get into the piano. I can barely type. I'm a freaking moron. Twin used to play the violin. I could see that. I could see that. I besides being the domesticated moron, Minuteman, schizo, tinfoil dude, I am also a man of culture, and I get into the finer things in life. I drink the good whiskeys and good cigars and good classical music and all that stuff. I'm into that stuff, and I could see Twin. Yeah, Twin is a man of culture. Don't let everything you see here fool you. Twin is a man of culture. I could see him. I could see him playing violin. I could see him knocking out some Charlie Daniels. Now, my wife used to play violin, fiddle. Her brother, my brother-in-law, he was actually a state champion in fiddle. Um, but she hasn't played for decades. Her violin's sitting in our utility room here. It needs to be completely gone over. She has no desire to pick it up or anything. I'm like, I got a mandolin, I got a guitar, I got drums, I got a fiddle there. I'm thinking about getting that thing restored in case any of the Bobbins, any of the little grandchildren, the little Bobbins. If any of you guys have watched the movie Willow, he calls his little kids, the Bobbins. I call my grandkids the Bobbins. But if any of them decide they want to pick up an instrument, I want to pass on Graham's guitar. I want to pass on her Strat. I want to pass on my drums. I want to pass on the violin to the little ones. So bass, I can play bass. I can play bass. Not like a bass player, but I can play bass like a drummer. Because you get those root note vibes and that groove feel, You get those vibes as a drummer playing bass. Easier for us to pick up bass than any other guitar. Like I said, Twin, you're a man of culture. Wife and I actually watched Willow like last week. Magnus, y'all have seen me post pictures of Magnus, our dog. When Mags Friday nights after we do grocery shopping and that kind of stuff, we like to like chill out, come down to the home theater and put on a movie or something. We kicked on Willow a couple weeks ago. There was a series they came out with Willow, and I cannot find it anywhere. I want to watch it. Huge fan of that back in the day. We rewatched it again. I loved it still. But yeah. Oh, come on. Come on, Twin. You are a berserker, but you are also a man that enjoys the finer things. You live comfortably in the uncomfortable. You are like the most interesting man in the world. You are like the Dos Equis guys, brother. Don't sell yourself short, motherfucker. Second place in loser. Oh, very cool. Vincent Hickerson. I've actually heard that. I've heard that name. Being in music and stuff, and I've heard that name. Don't know him personally. I've heard the name, in the realm. You got the Heritage 22. I got an H&R double nine. H&R double nine in the drawer right below. Not pulling it out, obviously, but H&R double 922 from 1956, April, my birth month of 1956. It was my mom's. I got Snake Shot. Then I got a jacketed hollow point, Snake Shot, jacketed hollow point, Snake Shot, all the rounds. Rocking beer gut. I got a hit for you too. It's called Where the Hell Did Johnny Depp Go? Damn, guys, I'm coming up on 3. I'm coming up on 3 freaking hours doing this shit. Oh my God. Nah. I'm going to ask him. Are you doing literally right now? My guess is he's doing another workout or he's trying to do his be better. He's out getting his miles in. That would be my guess right now because it's like coming up on 6 o'clock there. Or no, sorry, coming up on 7 o'clock there. So it's probably a little bit cooler. He's probably getting in some time. He's probably got Stella out and he's getting his steps in. One of my favorite songs, Robert, one of my favorite songs, classical, Fleur de Lis. Love it. Love it. I've always had like a, with that song. Yeah, I don't think he's eaten yet. If I had to guess, he's out getting his steps and he's either firing up the grill or he's going to the taco truck. He hasn't responded. He might not respond by the time I get off this live, but at least I asked him while we were still live. Sitting in the tent in the rain, Pilgrim. Oh, it's been doing nothing but raining here. I mean, get a break, a little sun peek out, and then it starts raining again and gets all shitty again. Dude, I listen to my heart. When you listen to the classical stuff, I'm listening to my hardcore stuff. Like the stuff that's kind of stuff. That's what I'm listening to get me built up. Then when I'm actually doing my training and lifting and stuff, I'm listening to like Viking stuff. It's my thing. And then afterward, I listen to classical because then I get to mellow. That's my thing. My pump music gets me. The Viking stuff pushes me through. And then the classical, it's like the breath of fresh air. I did see that, Glory. I don't have that. I don't have any need for that here. I'm hardline all the way. I am literally a Cat 5e all the way up to the Xfinity router. So there's no Wi-Fi to this machine. Only Wi-Fi is on the mobile devices. So all of my PC, my computer, I won't use my desktop tower PC for anything like this. That's, dude, charter sub, how do I put this? Comcast Xfinity sublets space on their system to Charter. I was a Charter tech when I lived in Washington out there by Krista. Charter gets their internet from Comcast. So they lease out the servers from Comcast for their internet. So Comcast is who I have, Comcast Xfinity. And it's like suck starting a fucking Glock to get any help with any of this shit. Literally. Like I cut out earlier, like nobody else is online here. My wife, my sister-in-law, and my niece are sitting upstairs, not online. My Wi-Fi is off. This right here, what you guys are seeing, is the only device online right now. Everything is turned off. Yet, I cut out earlier. Weird, right? And I'm the only one that cuts out on anything. The girls can stream whatever they want, however they want on any device. They could have both their TVs and the TV upstairs in the living room, all streaming whatever TV streaming service. Wife can be on her phone and her tablet. Both girls on their phones, tablets, laptops, whatever. Punto issues. If I go on my phone, stuff will buffer. If I jump on here or I'm doing a Whiskey Wednesday, sometimes when I'm trying to upload my podcast or something, then I'm getting the, I think I'm on a list. But yeah, as far as Wi-Fi goes, no issues with Wi-Fi. I can get Wi-Fi to the end of the block from here. I got Wi-Fi. But my hardline, even my Wi-Fi with my devices, they get the reading Twins comment here. Found a solar battery backup. Twin, I'm going to get with Mando. Okay. Mando has the plans. I can't talk about it here, but I'll talk about it offline to you. For a different type of generator. I know you guys have free flowing water nearby, right? He has plans on a different type of generator that does not run on gasohol or diesel or any of that crap. I want to see if I can get the plans and if I can figure out something. How far is it from your big boy camper, your big boy home, to the running water source? Once I get the plans from Mando, let me do my beautiful mind shit. Walking the dogs. He was doing yard work, helping a neighbor, and then walking the dogs. I got the part right about him walking Stella, getting his steps in. Old Glory guessed you were eating dinner. We were like, I wonder what ACR is doing right now. There's the answer, guys. There's the answer. And he's like, just got in from a walk. What's up? Just got in from a walk. No dinner yet. ACR. I said either you'd be firing up the grill or hitting up the taco truck. That was my call for dinner. For you. I ain't eat nothing. I chewed some pretzels and some nacho chips earlier, but you're one of them. You're one of them. You're one of the most interesting men in the world. And the vest, forget what the haters say. The vest makes you suave. You're suave and deboner. Finish the whiskey, milking out the Voodoo Ranger. Because I'm going on 3 hours here. Wear that vest in pride, brother. Wear that vest with pride. Now, I used to work for a company down in Mackey's area, down in Lancaster area, that we did solar. We were known as the Amish electricians because we did solar, we did wind, we did hydro. I got a lot of experience working with hydro, working with solar, working with wind. If Twin has a steady flowing water supply, there is a tether water generator that could keep him running if he has a steady flow of water. So you basically anchor on one side, anchor on the other, run a leader so your generator can tether underneath it and hang down into the water. And it comes up with your power line that runs up to your inverter that converts it from 24 volts over to 120. You can put up a battery bank and charge it if you'd like to have storage in case something goes out, but you can run it directly to the inverter if it's a steady flowing water that doesn't die out, and then run your house or your camper or whatever off of that tethered generator. Just a water turbine. Done many of those. They are freaking cool because I got to put on the freaking hip waders and go over carrying my line. I don't know if Twin's still in here or not. I can't see it on the YouTubes. Doesn't allow me. Dude, I go grocery shopping in pajamas too. Wind, those big Mac Daddy freaking huge, like Vestas and all those guys, those generators are terrible. If you get an 18 ohm smaller wind generator that will track your wind and stuff like that, I mean, the blades are only like maybe 24 inches wide. Those smaller 18 ohm wind generators, if you'd put like 4 of them up on a property, you'd be able to run everything if you have constant wind. Solar is a good supplement for wind. Solar, however, you have to have clear off again. I don't know if y'all caught that, but my connection was unstable. Yeah, see what I mean? See what I mean? It's fantastic. Just hang with me here, guys. Hang with me. That's them. Bohica. I have Bohica internet. Not Xfinity. Bohica. But anyway, use your wind. Use your solar as a backup to wind. The solar is only good if you have clear blue skies. No clouds, no shitty weather, whatever. If you're doing solar, 2 things. Having a system that can track the sun from morning to evening when it falls, sunset, to be able to maximize what you're getting. Because if you're facing this way in the south and it rises over here, you're missing this. You're just getting a little bit. You're getting a little bit. Okay, you're getting a lot of it. You're getting a decent amount. Okay, it's starting to fall off and you get nothing. If you have tracking that has Freon tubes on either side of a tracking system, that you can track it as soon as the sun comes up, it will pull the panel array over to face the sun to get full spectrum shine from sunrise to sunset. Now, along with that tracking tech, you need to have MPPT charge regulators. Charge regulators are awesome because what they do is sometimes those panels will get that cooking sun. It'll just be like, yeah, baby. And you get an extra amount of voltage from that bright, beautiful sun. That being the case, the MPPT, if I can English, does is it converts that voltage into current to store in your battery bank. So make sure you're having a good battery bank. 2 6-volt batteries wired up will make enough storage for 3 12 volts. Trojan and Deca are my go-tos. What I professionally used was Trojan and Deca batteries, 6 volts. When you're using that MPPT tech, bleh, that extra current goes into those. If you can get your hands on a forklift battery or a tow motor battery, I can't English, guys. I blame the Voodoo Ranger. But I probably need to chew. But if you can get your hands on a forklift battery or a tow motor or whatever you want to call it, words is hard. Englishing is hard. Be better with this. But if you can get your hands on one of the big batteries, 24 volt or 48 volt, you can step it down to hit an inverter to run commercial batteries. Yeah. The Amish folk down in Lancaster County, they love having those batteries because you can just keep running. I've ran entire wood shops off of one forklift battery. Just saying. Trace inverters, Outback inverters back in the day. Trace was the best. Outback was about second. Trace, you could get true sine wave inverters that would put out 60 hertz, not dirty power, clean power, so you could run sensitive electronics. Outback did the same. They weren't as big as what the Trace were. The Trace, you could run a whole freaking house off of a Trace. Especially if you're looking at a bug out location, a Trace would be amazing. Outbacks were easier for me to service, but the Trace were more hardy. I didn't have to go out and service them as much. I have a 1,000-watt true sine wave inverter in the garage, and I'm trying to remember what it is. I used to have it. I had a Ford Ranger back in the day. Little 4-door Ranger. Flare side. Had 3-liter in it. It ran good. I love that thing. Look at it from the front, kind of looked like Darth Vader's helmet. It's kind of cool. But anyway, in that thing under the driver's seat, I had an inverter, and I could flip the switch. And I had 110 ran up, and in the center console in like a 2000 Ranger, on the passenger side, I had an outlet, like 110 outlet. Like I dremeled out and cleaned everything out and flushed it in. And then I had a child-proof thing, keep water and snow and crap from getting in it. Had that over top of it that I could run my guitar amp, I could run a chainsaw, I could run weed whacker, I could run pretty much about anything off of it. I could run my laptop off of it, whatever. I had a Tough book back in the day that I carried for work, and I had the Tough book. Run off the inverter. It was awesome. But it came off my battery, ran through the inverter, came up there and became 110 power before they were putting 110 outlets in vehicles. Now in my Silverado, I have like 2 110 outlets. My wife has a Rogue. She has a 110 outlet. They're coming in vehicles now. So I know that truck. I ain't no stranger. I know that truck. It's a Ford frickin' Ranger. Well, thank you, Pilgrim. I am doing good for 3 hours in. I'm not fatigued. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong. We can do this because after I kicked that Voodoo Ranger, I got a whole canteen of water here. Hoo-wah! The inverter was awesome having in the truck because I could run whatever I needed. See, in my Silverado, I keep an extension cord. I keep like a 30-foot extension cord in there, just running around here doing whatever. It comes in handy. Part of my EDC for my truck, right? Well, in the Ranger, you know how they have like the suicide doors, and there's like that pocket in the back. I cut it out and I put a extension cord reel, and I had a 100-foot extension cord in there that I could plug into. Hello, Krista. Welcome. I've been talking about your area in my life back there and all that time and different things. ACR, I'm glad you're still here, man. Just water for you today. I understand. I know what you got going on. But I had a 100-foot extension cord that I could just take and go, pull it out, do my thing, and then come back and hit the button, and it had a spring in it that would reel it back in for me. Loved it. Wish I could do that again. But I can't. I'm not going to do that to my Silverado because back then I was like, you know, in my 20s, and I was like, fuck this truck. I'll just do whatever I want to it. So anyway, yeah, the inverters, if you have to worry about weight of batteries, there are ways around it. if you can dolly in a 6-volt battery, or have somebody help you set up, or have somebody that has a skid steer that can bring in a forklift battery. Even like some of the smaller like Kubota tractors and stuff like that, and bigger Cub Cadets and stuff that have buckets on them. Some of them have forks that you can put stuff on a pallet, and I always recommend lifting stuff up on the pallet. The wives' tale of batteries going and draining out on concrete, that's a total wives' tale. That was back many, many years ago, many moons ago, whenever batteries had a wooden bottom. It would draw out the moisture, and it would suck down the water and the battery acid. And it would rot out the bottom of the batteries, and they'd be shit. Nowadays, batteries don't have that issue. But I still, Quack, welcome, man. Coming into the end here, buddy. But I still recommend putting stuff up on pallets or some type of blockage or whatever, for the reason of if you get water seepage or you get a flooding or anything like that, even if you get a couple inches, you're not having to worry about that kind of shit. Is what it is when it comes to alternative power. If you can get your hands on anything like that, rock on. Trace inverters, Outback inverters, they were awesome. I'll look back into my stuff if I can get pictures of what I did before. If I can find any of the old manuals from anything, I will definitely post it here, or if I can't, here on one of the socials for you guys to be able to see. I will give those recommendations where I can for that kind of stuff, because being offline, off grid. Krista, talking to you directly, sister. On your wherever you click subscribe to me, notifications, is it set for custom or is it set for all? Because YouTube likes to default to custom versus all. And a lot of people, like even myself, I get hemmed up in that. For like all y'all's stuff, I literally sat here for a half hour going through people and made sure I went to all so I could get notification. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. Just a 5x5 check. Well, it probably didn't give you a notification because this live has been fucking awesome. Just saying. But it's available in replay, so y'all can check it out at any point you want. Okay, Robert, the 12-volt batteries, the 6-volt batteries, they're about the same size and weight and everything. The commercial ones, if you can do 2 6-volts and wire them together, they make 3 12s. The storage capacity of 3 12s, if that makes sense. The amperage that you can cook into those things is equivalent to 3 12s. So if you can handle those, good on you. Couple inches in it. I am not talking about Johnny Depp when it comes to a couple inches. I know he exceeds yardage. We're talking about yardage with Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is a freaking legend, and he doesn't even exist. Punt how many yards? I have not tried to kick in forever. When I was in my prime and I was quarterbacking, I could throw 70. Like I had some retarded ability from my cousin. My cousin could throw from end zone to end zone. He was a phenom. He taught me how to throw, and I could only throw about 70. Punting, I could not punt all that great. If I was kicking a field goal, I could split the uprights. It was awesome. I throw a football over them there mountains. Ting, hoss. Literally for us, it was like throwing over a mountain because our field was so terrible. Krista, you guys are coming into the windy freaking dust devil season. June, if I remember right, you're probably up in the 80, hitting in the 80s, and it's getting that weird freaking dust devil season. $95. Holy shit. I remember back when I lived there, it was be like in the upper 80s. Maybe a couple days into like 91, 92, 93 maybe, but like in the upper 80s. Yeah, next week mid to upper 80s. And then you guys won't get the rain, but like Walla and Dayton, those guys will get rain. You guys won't. Gotta love dry shitties. Robert, with installing the switching gear into the main panel, I always recommend that having that disconnect, because if you have to hook up a generator, you always want to put in a plug that you can plug your generator in to run it if you're looking for supplemental. Having a disconnect there to not push stuff back into the grid. I have worked on an outage that somebody plugged their generator in. They did not have the disconnect engaged. They had it, but they didn't have it engaged. And they pushed power and they pushed amperage back into the line. And one of my buddies was on the other end. I was at a recloser and I had it disconnect. I had it thrown out so that way it wouldn't come to me. Reclosers, whenever your power dips and it comes right back on, that is a recloser. It is doing its job. It takes shots. It takes hits, like surges. It's like a surge protector almost, or a breaker. It takes a surge and it takes the hit and it keeps the power on. They're all designed to take different types of hits. Some areas might have it, 2 hits and then it throws. They might have it 3 hits and then it throws. 1A, 2B, 1A, 3C, whatever. However they have it set up. But the electromechanical ones will take 2, 3 hits, some cases 4 in some areas, but they'll take those hits and they'll just keep your power on. They absorb the hit so you don't have to. And that's what keeps the power on. Well, when it takes its last shot, the handle kicks. And the electromechanical ones, they will shut down for up to it takes 90 seconds for it to clear. So then somebody can take a hot stick and they can push the handle back up and energize you again. I was working on one line and I threw the recloser out so it wouldn't kick power back if they got anything going on that end. Well, somebody kicked on a generator because the power's out. They kicked on a generator and sent amperage through, and it hit my buddy on the other end that he didn't kick the recloser, and he got hit because of that. So always put in a disconnect that you can disconnect the grid power from your alternative power. Let me jump here to the chat quick. When I moved back here, the day I was loading my U-Haul to move here, it was 109. 2 days later, it was 113. I used to go up in attics in that. I put a temp sensor on me once. I went up into an attic when I was running wire doing DirecTV and cable and stuff. I was in an attic and I hit 163 in an attic. That's freaking hot. $100 for 2 stumps? Dude, damn. A whole bill for 2 stumps. Dry heat, rarely humid, but if you go over into the mountains over there, when it's hot in Tri-Cities, when would it be those triple digits there in Tri-Cities? And I go up to like, I'd be out in Walla College Place, or I'd be up and around Dayton, or I'd be heading up into like Wenatchee or any of that area up in there. It'd get freaking humid up there. Like the higher elevations got more humid than it did down there. It wasn't like it is here where it can be 80 and like really freaking humid. It was like humid like it is here in like the 65 to 75 ish range. It wasn't quite that humid, but it was still freaking humid up in the mountains up there. Still kind of sucked. Quack, I agree. I like the bikini tanning weather. It's quite delightful. And in some cases, but I like the stuff. Yeah, dude got hit. I mean, he's okay. Like everything was okay. He had his gloves on, but like it sparked and flared up in his face. It was like had to hit the radio. He's like, "What the fuck you do, man?" I was like, "I didn't do a damn thing." It's like ground it. Brought the buckets down. We met up. I'm like, what the hell? We went door to door and found out a guy had his. We heard it, and we found a dude running his generator. We're like, dude, you got to kill a generator. We're trying to get your power back on. You're back feeding into our system. He's like, fuck, I'm sorry, guys. Dude, it's okay. Just thankfully nobody got hurt or anything. Just kill it. We'll have you back on in like a half hour if you just let us. It's stupid. Yeah, I said earlier, anybody that's over here in this chat, like, subscribe to him. Got a new guy jumped in, Mackie. He's from PA here, other side of the state. A lot of stuff in common. Cool dude. Over here, look at these folks. They're the ones. Subscribe to them. Krista, I got fried one summer. I was working for Columbia Basin Satellite at the time, and I got fried bad. Like, I didn't try to cover up or nothing. I had like 4 jobs, and for me, that was like, I'm done by lunch. And that's like install service, upgrades, whatever. I'm going to be done by lunch. But then they kept dropping jobs on me. I was out until like 10:30 that night. I got so fried. ACR, I did not get trolls. I got new folks, but I got no trolls. Nobody trolling. Some new folks, but no new trolls. No trolls at all. I'm kind of shocked. Let me jump on the other machine here so I can, Project Looking Glass this shit. I'll let y'all know what's up. Yeah, no trolls. Nope. Still good. Still good. No trolls as of yet. Oh, it was terrible. I was up in Connell, and I had an apprentice with me who was in his 3rd week, meaning he's good. Last story, and then I'm going to have to go upstairs and do things. But 3rd week apprentice, still friends with him to this day. I went up, and I'm like, okay, I had pants that I had zip off that would become shorts. And I'm like, okay, man, I'm going to go up here, go as far as I can, pull the wire. I'm going to come out, get a breath of fresh air. I'll go in, stay out here. Don't go inside. I had sticks stuck up for fishing the walls that we were trying to fish a media panel with the lines from the satellite dish. Back then it was 4 lines in and down into a media panel to be able to support satellite TV for the house. I had a glow rod sticking up so I could go in, see it with my flashlight, go over there, hook it up to it, pull a bunch of slack in, go out and get a breath. He could go in, pull it down. I could feed him the slack and leave a little bit of slack up there. Cool. It took me like over an hour to go in to get 25 feet into this attic because it was so hot. You go so far and just get hit in the face, and you try to push through and like throw the wire a little bit. Well, then I ended up got in there, sucked it up. I came out. I came down the ladder. It was an outside access to the attic. Came down. I looked around. I saw a water hose. I took the water hose. I had to change clothes in the van. I didn't care. I took the water hose and I just drenched myself in it. Just went ape. Then, long story short, he's like, "How the fuck did you do that, dude?" He climbed up the ladder as I was drenching myself. And as soon as he got up the ladder, he's like, "There's no way." I was like, "I'm just conditioned to the hot weather now." But going in there, that was a whole nother level. The folks were like, "Dude, we were worried about you." I was like, "Oh, I'm fine." Wrap my neck with cold, bandana and everything else, cold water bandana. Way to go. What? Let me jump back here to the commentary section if I can here, if my computer will work with me. Not controls. Yeah. Glory got the Blue Wrench band hammer. Glory getting fried. Yeah, as a kid, it's always the best. Creighton Place got over 300. Congratulations, neighbor, if you see this in replay. Good for her. Yes, and sub to Horsepower Coffee. It's a great story. I can't wait to see the finished product. It's going to be freaking legendary. Legendary. I mean, as it goes with the Minuteman and Prepared Dudes content creation, I'm like the lowest man on the freaking totem pole. At like 403. I don't care. As long as people are getting value from what I'm putting out and enjoy listening to my domesticated moron rants and stupid stories and stuff, awesome. I'm gonna keep doing it. I don't care if I have 2 subscribers, if I have 2 million. Don't matter. I'm enjoying it and I'm gonna keep doing it. Whatever. Yeah, I've been subbed to Horsepower Coffee since back when Chris shared the link on Twins Live. It's awesome. Awesome. I know it's just the coffee trailer, but if you ever get into production, making your own coffee or selling your own coffee like online and stuff, I'm all for it. And I want to promote it here on my channel, more so on the Spotify's because it's way bigger than this is. So definitely want to do that because I wanted a good coffee company to put out there and work with. And if that happens, Horsepower Coffee is going to be my jam. Well, congratulations on the 200. Small victories, Krista. That's it. Small victories. Small victories win the war. Keep grinding. All pun intended. I intend my puns. The whole keep grinding, coffee, grinding. I'm an idiot. For sure, Robert. I'm always here, dude. Goes for all you guys. I'm always here. Y'all got the email. It's right there in the channel. No secret. Have it right here. And yeah, it's real. It's real. I got it right there. I do reply. It may take me a while to get back to you, like a day or so, but I still do. Krista definitely does need to get her own roast. The Sister Krista Horsepower Coffee Roast. So, guys, all that being said, I'm going 3.5 here, and that's far too long for this idiot. But I figured I'd do a little bit extra today because I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow. But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the channel. Make sure you're sharing the content. You're commenting, going in, doing the replay crew thing. You guys are awesome too. Windows wants to restart to install an update, and I'm like, hell no, not right now. But make sure you're subscribing, doing all the things, sharing the content. If you're over on Spotify, make sure you're doing the 5-star review and helping me get deeper into the algorithm to get to people that I normally wouldn't get to otherwise. People can search for my type of content, but they're not going to find me because I'm suppressed. Same here in the YouTubes. We're all suppressed, believe it or not. If you're not promoted by a big media company, you're suppressed. So help share, help subscribe, do the things. We're all a guild. We're all in this together. Not to sound 2020 or anything, but we are. We are a part of a collective, a guild, if you will. So help the guild out. So you guys take care, stay safe, stay blessed, pray up, train up. Until next time, metal out.